apology. Still everybody's mad at me. Can't react to my body 'cause it's begging me to cheat. Begging me to cheat. You will see just how perfect I
dark, but when you come out, I see the stars. There are so many stars, but when you shine, you burn my heart and set me up in flames. 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 Set me up in your light shines through the darkness, darkness. Your light shines through the darkness, darkness, your light shines through the darkness of my heart. I can't look away. You burn through me. So I can't look away. You burn through me. You're so I need this fear to go, because it's all I know, and you cast it all. I need you near me now. Tonight is just so cold without your soul.
Hi everyone and good evening. I am Asupara and joined as ever by XR Troika,
How are you doing?
and we are back. We are back for Arena Clash with the Belong Gaming Arenas. We are here for the semi-finals now. Things are getting serious here in Siege Arena Clash. All the marbles tonight. This is for the place at Insomnia.
It really is, like you say. This is for the playing the semi-finals tonight. So the winners of this will progress through and play at Insomnia in a couple of weeks' time. So it is it's a big evening for all the teams involved.
Certainly is. We've got two great games coming up for you, and I believe before we start, I've just had a little fun fact thrown at me, that none of the gaming arenas left in the tournament as it stands have ever won any Arena Clash. So one way or another, one of these arenas will be picking up their first ever tournament win and the first trophy that goes along with it at Insomnia. So have a quick look at that bracket, then we can see how things shook down last week. We had the Harriers beating the Saints 2-1, Kingston progressing through to the semi-finals to play against the Bristol Smugglers, who took that win 2-1 also. The bottom half was a little bit more straightforward. We had the Norfolk Nighthawks beating the Centurions 2-0 and progressing to play the Plymouth Armada, who also picked up a 2-0 win against their rivals, the Portsmouth Pirates. So that's going to leave us with the Harriers, Smugglers, Nighthawks and Armada playing each other tonight. Which one do you think's the one to watch there tonight, X?
I think based off the games that I've seen so far, I think I've seen more Harriets and Smugglers playing, so I'd like to see how those two are going to face off against each other. That's of course going to be our first fixture that we are going to bring you tonight, so I think that's the one that's probably worth, I think that's, if any are going to go to 3, I think it could be that one, purely because of how clear cut it was in the lower half of the bracket. So I'm, Nighthawk Smugglers, I think that's the one to go for.
Yeah, I think you might be right there, and we'll find out, because that is going to be the first game that we bring you, and we can take a look at those rosters now. We've got the Bristol Smugglers coming in strong as always. We've got Canisius D, Kiwi Combe 6, Meads, Whiston, SAR and Cyan Foxtrot. Cyan Foxtrot, of course, picking up that play of the week last week with the withstand ability being used on Zafir to then pick up a 2k and clutch things out for his team 1 versus 2.
Moving on to the Kingston Harriers, we've got the Assassin, CT Hulu, Smoky, Triple, Sparkles and Chemical.
Big nights then for these players. As we've said previously, this is all about getting down to your local belong arena and playing a game that you love. It doesn't matter about ability. We're looking at grassroots competitive play here. This is an avenue in. We are playing on Xbox, and it's just about getting down there, getting involved in that team dynamic, building your strats, building your experience, and doing what you can to get those wins and get yourself onto the stage at the NEC at Insomnia, which is a big prize for anybody. So we're going to get into the first map of the first game. Then we're going to be going over to Border, and we see that first attacking ban come out as Montagna. Not too much of a surprise there, X. He's not an overly common ban, but if you're going to see him banned on any map, it does tend to be Border.
Yeah, the Monty ban is going to come out there. Of course, this is played on Xbox, so the way that we see the bans shaping up do tend to differ a little bit from things that we see elsewhere. The book ban coming out there, I like that from the Smugglers. It's going to be maybe a bit of a sticking point, because Whiston does play a heck of a lot of book, and he is of course one of the players on the Smugglers. So to see that come out as a ban from them is a little bit unusual, but I'm sure they've got a pretty clear-cut idea as to what they're going to do with that ban. Maestro coming out as well, and we are going to move into the final ban for the defending side. So yeah, it could be a little bit interesting. I think that the Harriers have... sorry, it's the Harriers that banned out the book. That makes a lot more sense. They've definitely done the homework, and they're definitely trying to limit the ability of the Smugglers to be able to open things up, because we did see Whiston playing a lot of book. Cavera will come out for the last ban, and that will do us, and we'll be straight into the game now.
We will, and I think you're right there, X. We did see a lot of Whiston on book last week, and Border again, it's another one that makes sense. A lot of that floor is destructible and useful. You can get in underneath there, and you can start opening up that west wall. That's something I've commented on previous weeks. We'll see if any of the guys have been watching the streams maybe. We have had a very strong focus towards those west wall pushers, and I think we just need to start seeing, if we're going to see these teams evolve and improve, it's about splitting that push up, you know, mixing it up, sometimes hitting office, sometimes hitting west wall, but quite commonly hitting both of them is important as well.
And that's the beauty that you can get away with on Border, especially when both hard breaches make it through the banning phase, is you do have the ability of using the thermite to open up the armory wall, and then obviously Hibana can be better suited to opening up office, as you do actually need less control of office to do so. That can be done from the windows fairly easily. That single window there, looking in onto where Whiston is opening. Now that can be a good line of attack, and like you say, on attacks, it is all about having that, you know, two-pronged attack and being able to attack effectively from both sides, and not having to stack all of your players up on one, you know, on a one-sided attack, if you will, as you do often find yourself getting picked off in the process. Whiston, is he going to be going for an aggressive run out straight away? No, he's actually making his way back up the stairs. I was wondering, could we have seen a quick detention run out there from him, just trying to grab a quick kill over on 21 spawning over at Valley, but no such aggression, as there is a lot on the line and he doesn't want to lose his life oh so easily in the first round.
Yep, nobody wants to be making those early silly mistakes, and losing a man for the team. You don't want to be coming into this 5 versus 4 straight off the bat, so we're going to see Swift just heading quickly towards office there. He's watching for anybody who is on that awkward little jump up. I'm not sure how effective that goo mine is going to be. They've probably will trigger it coming in through the window there, but it was just dropped a little bit wide for my liking there. We are going to have, it looked like we were going to have Swift challenging officers, but that doesn't seem to be too much of the case now. He's got himself up onto the roof and we can see there's a lot of attention being shown towards that west balcony. It is, you know, it is the obvious attack. I'm not saying it's not the way to go. First kill coming in there for the Harriers on attack then, so that is the second as well that we see, with 2 assassin getting in there and just taking that bandit out. It looks like they might be trying to open up both sides of that west breach, but it's not going to really do them too much of a favour. Bristol just managing to get one back of their own. We can see there that Mute is, I think, probably 1 or 2 HP there. I don't think he's actually down, so we are currently 4 versus 3 in favour of the Kingston Harriers, starting to draw on sight now, and they will, I'm sure, recognise that the default plant spot just inside that breach is currently available, although I think the wall into small office is soft, so a challenge can come through there. We've got a Mute, so a potential shotgun there, and you can see we do have the little crouch hole, but that's not going to be on the plant spot itself. It may deny actual entry, but it's going to be difficult. You're going to leave yourself blind firing at that point if somebody does come in for the plant, but it looks like Kingston just making slow progress through that breach here, and that's where they're going to have to be careful, because Mute on this little punch hole here, that's when he's going to be really dangerous. He sees, and there you can see exactly what I was commenting on. He sees the feet come through, but leaves himself a very difficult challenge. Doesn't actually do too much damage there, and alerts them to his presence. He is basically just been held back onto just wildfiring through that wall there, and it's a matter of time until the Harriers manage to get in and get the kill on him, and we can see the diffuser going down now. This is it. Bristol have got about 45 seconds to do something about this.
Bristol now in a retake position, 2 versus 3. 2 versus 2 now as Legion open things up with a kill over onto Assassin. He's going to be getting challenged by the Blackbeard now as well. It's a very, very tall order, but however, Jaeger finds a down of his own outside of CCTV. He isn't going to know that he's got a down at this moment in time, as points are not on, so unless he actually saw the player drop, he's going to have a tough time of recognising that. He's still finding himself in an effective 1 versus 2, although Jackal is very lit indeed, but he won't be looking the right way as he enters over on through office. Couple of lessons there really to learn from Bristol. I think they did make a good few mistakes, although the plant wasn't perfect either. I think the plant could have gone down, you know, without a hitch if you'd have used the smoke from Jackal. He still had 2 smoke canisters available upon his death, but barricading that door into sight isn't going to give you a good opportunity for any of your roamers to be able to rotate in or even find an angle in those dying few seconds if they are trying to get back to sight or they are trying to retake. And Smoke not taking, oh sorry, Mute I think it was, not taking the shotgun in that situation as well really, really hurt them, because that plant is easily denied. If a couple of shotgun holes are open in that wall, it really deters the attackers from pushing in.
Well, yeah, they probably don't even get the plant, they don't even get the opportunity to plant. We had Mute just looking through that little peek hole that he'd made in small office wall. You're quite right, if he has the shotgun there, he saw 3 players all moving in at once and moving in reasonably slowly, just going for that default plant spot, so not moving a great distance, and he did start spraying through the wall, put some damage on, but didn't manage to get any downs or kills. If that's the shotgun, he probably gets 2 out of 3 there, if not all of them, because as soon as he blasts through that wall, the next shot, all he's got to do is keep hammering the trigger there, and he's going to start taking them down, because you can see there the distance that those players were coming into the default plant spot, and that soft office wall, you're talking 6 or 7 feet, and you're really really are going to start blitzing them. So lessons maybe to be learnt on the load out there, but great players from Kingston. They made a good job of getting that west wall open and took advantage of it. You know, I think it's something that you commented on, X, having all three push in there. He really should be chasing down that drone there, Legion. He needs to find it. I think he has done now. There we go. Yeah, it needs to be information being key in Siege. You really do have to, you can't leave them alone, you've got to find them. But yeah, I think all of them pushing in at once, you know, heavy-handed there, I think that could be dangerous. You know, in normal circumstances, you're potentially stacking up there and you're going to lose 2 or 3 quite quickly.
Moving on into round number 2 now, I think we're going to see a fairly typical take from the Harriers. There looks to be a lot of attention being paid over toward Armoury Wall, but with the lack of a book, it doesn't really, I don't really see much of a reason as to why Bandit can't just try and trick that all day. 17 is going to lose his life fairly early, playing over on Insecurity, and I think that was going to be the Sledge that got the kill onto that one. So Jaeger not able to be the last alive as he was last round, and he's going to be taken off fairly early indeed. Now Thermite is going to plant a charge, but Bandit is being allowed to sit and Bandit trick, which is something that, you know, with no book being available, he really could have, you know, done to sit there the whole round and tried to trick that, but the wall will be open nonetheless. It looks like he could have just placed it a little bit too late and will now be receiving some pressure. So he's not really got himself in a great position to actually get out of this with his life, and he is going to get punished for it. He does manage to place another battery, but I don't think it will come to anything. That's going to be Sledge picking up his 2nd kill of this round. I believe it was his 1st kill, actually. I think it was Blackbeard that got the 1st one, but Whiston's going to be seeing a lot of grenade pressure now. No ADS behind the half wall. That isn't going to be what you're seeing. He doesn't take any damage from it, but it could have definitely gone in the other direction. Now Whiston's going to be allowed to play this angle with the ACOG, which can be quite powerful. Another grenade will come in though, perfectly timed and cooked, and it will in fact down the Rook. So we are effectively now in a 4 versus 2 as 2 kills get quickly traded elsewhere. Mute now left over inside B. Nobody in A, no presence from the Bristol defenders is going to allow the bomb to be planted, and it's going to be on 15 and 20 to try and rotate back in and retake this site. Legion is going to start by entering over into break room, but he's got a tough job to do here as Bandit Blackbeard, sorry, is going to drop the hatch over Insecurity, so it takes him out of the fray for a couple of seconds as he makes the rotation, but Legion really needs to be making the most of that and trying to break these engagements down. He's essentially got a 1v1 now, albeit not ideal. It is at quite long range, but he's going to have to do something as he is the last man standing, but will get taken out with ease.
Kingston coming in and winning on the kills there, winning the gunfights, and another good attack onto the Armoury site. I think it's probably about time. Bristol have given that 2 attempts now. Probably time for them to drop out to somewhere else rather than keep banging the head against that, and it looks like that's what we will be seeing with them heading down to Ventilation Workshop. The problem that you've got with Ventilation Workshop is it's actually reasonably similar to an Armoury hold. You're still wanting to hold the same sort of areas. You want to hold Armoury, you want to hold Archives, and you want to hold Office in particular to prevent. You've also got to have 1 or 2 down on site just to prevent, so if anything it's actually more difficult to keep that top floor control than on an Armoury objective where you can actually have everybody upstairs if you so choose to do so. We'll see if that's something they go for. We've not seen a lot of success when people have given up that control too early. We have seen over the last couple of weeks 1 or 2 teams just thinking that they can drop everybody out of top floor, leave it completely to the enemy team for 2.5 minutes, and they really have struggled with it. So we'll see what Bristol choose to do here with it. We can see Legion already heading in the direction of East Stairs, but I think all he's done is just put a goo mine on and then he's heading back to site. Now they do have the castle, but they've chosen not to castle off bathroom. It does cost them 3 reinforcements to reinforce that bathroom wall, where you can blow an impact nade hole in it, move into there and castle that single door, and potentially save yourself the 3 reinforcements that could be used on hatches or elsewhere if you choose not to open those hatches up. If you do choose to open them, that's fine, but you really do need to be wasting at least 2 minutes up here then if that's the case.
Yeah, I don't mind this castle strat. I think using them all upstairs can be very useful. Typically, I think you'd see See, this is they need to really be bringing a shotgun to kind of make these kind of holes, because to use your impact nades in that scenario isn't really good enough. You could even get the same result if you just shot it out a little bit, because that impact grenade is going to be vital when it comes to late round rotations, and you're actually going to want to try and get through one of your castle barricades. I can't actually see where the other castle barricade has been placed, because at this point, yeah, they're trying to hold upstairs, but look at what Sledge is allowed to do. He's just allowed to walk straight in, sledge onto the barricade. I know you can sledge a castle barricade very much the same, but you've got to try and defend it. You've got to try and shoot out a little bit of CCTV and have somebody playing over there as well, and really try and keep hold of this utility that you're going to be expending upstairs. I mean, Castle's still going to be in a decent spot because he's able to play onto this armory wall. As long as nobody, as long as the thermite doesn't try and rotate up here and try and actually open this this armory wall, Castle could be allowed to play for a good amount of time. But he is going to get some drone pressure. The grenade toss is going to come through. It will get picked up by an ADS as Sledge does try and make his way in, but doesn't actually follow anything up. Jaeger now left inside, receiving pressure from both sides. We've already got one of the attackers making their way into offices, and it could be at this point in the round that you choose to drop back to site and you say, you know what, we've held upstairs for over half of the round, we are going to in fact get ourselves back down onto site. But no, Sledge is going to continue the killing and find another one there over onto Whiston.
So we've got some reasonable progress here from the Harriers, just opening that office wall up, starting to move between archives and offices. We're going to have just a bit of a pressure applied to ventilation, single window as well. 5 versus 3 now in favour of the Harriers, and they really do look strong to be taking this third round and giving themselves an even bigger advantage. The diffuser is going to start going down with 2 assassin moving in on the Thatcher in order to do that, and 1 kill will come back onto the Jackal just to even things up a little bit. But that said, while all that happens, the diffuser goes down, and that could be a differentiating factor. But how about that turn from the Jaeger to get the kill on to Smokey? But Assassin and 24 will get kills of their own, and ultimately Kingston will finish that one out just by taking the kills they need to as the defenders try to reclaim site. And that is 3-0, a very strong start so far from the Kingston Harriers.
It seems as though the smugglers are in a position where nothing they can do is, working. Nothing that they're doing is actually sticking at the moment against the Harriers. The Harriers are doing a great job of countering everything, and they seem to have all of the answers at this moment in time. I think on the side of the smugglers, do they just need to get a couple more kills? I mean, we saw these guys play last week, and we saw them play really, really well indeed.
Yep. What do you think they do in that situation? So you're in a situation, you're 3-0 down, nothing is working. What do you do with that? What's your next step as a team?
You've just got to try and compose yourselves and try and, win your gunfights and make sure that you're there to be traded from. I think something that the Harriers are good at doing is getting first blood and getting early picks. I think they've got first blood pretty much every single round, and they are getting early picks, and it's not just a pick of one, it's like a pick of two defenders. All of a sudden you lose 2 defenders without trading one back, you're in a 5v3, and we regularly see these rounds at the end of it's impactless kills that Bristol are getting essentially. They're not getting kills that actually mean anything at the stage of the round where they're actually getting the kills. So, I mean, going down to customs, I don't think that that's the answer. I know they've not seen success up in armory, and I know they've not seen success down in ventilation, but it seems as though, I mean, we saw these guys play last week, and they had very clear ways and clear ideas of how they wanted to hold things. I'd just like to see that strategy coming out a little bit more today, because to this point, it seems like they've got an idea as to what they want to do, but not everyone's pulling in the same direction, and not everyone's doing, what needs to be done to try and win that round. Last round works as long as they hold upstairs for a little bit longer or get a kill out of it. Yep. But they didn't. They held it for plenty enough time, but they just weren't able to get kills. And Sledge is going off on a tear. He's going to pick up another one onto Whiston straight away and going to be allowed a second easy kill there over onto the Legion. He'll get traded out, but it's late. 4-3. Jaeger will find the Sledge, but I don't know how much that means at this stage. You've lost your castle, albeit his job's done. He's still got a couple of impacts and a decent gun, and that's an operator that you're going to be looking towards for some frags and helping Jaeger hold upstairs. And you've lost your Legion, which is an operator that's crucial in terms of slowing the enemy down. All of a sudden, Jaeger's had to drop back down to site, and now smugglers are going to have to play a lot more conservatively, but Assassins finding one of his own over on 221, so mute no longer a factor in this round.
As you said, they've just moved in there, got a good couple of first blood kills from the sledge. That was a little bit of a silly place to be throwing your drone out from, left himself very exposed, and that was a great peek onto him. Bristol showing their ability there and taking the chances when they are presented. You really do have to punish mistakes. We're going to have Jackal just allowing that wall to be opened up potentially now, but the hard breach is gone with Thermite off the board, so that's not going to be something that Kingston can really take all too much advantage of. But we do have, once again, them deep in sight. Shots come onto the Ella from Swift, and that's the top floor control, showing how important it can be. And we're going to have this diffuser going down again. That's the third round out of 4, I think, that the diffuser has gone down. I don't think it went down in round number 2, but other than that, they've played the objective very well. We are now with 1 versus 1, sorry, as the kill comes in from Jaeger. He does have a diffuser to get, but that is a bit of a silly place to try and defend the diffuser from. Sitting right on top of it like that, just left himself exposed to a gunfight. He'd have been much better off getting himself outside of the window and being able to hold an angle with more of a sort of a pixel peek. But great plays there from the Jaeger of Bristol 17 to get in, regain control of the site, and I'm surprised that they've held the customs site when they were down 4-2 there. Great effort from Bristol.
Especially with the opening that Harry's had onto it, getting a quick 2k. It didn't seem like it was going to be their round. It did seem like it was going to be another round where Bristol really just struggled to get themselves going. That being said, they've picked up the round win. I think Harriers are going to be looking at that and thinking that they've made a couple of silly mistakes there. For one, the diffuser, that's not really a default plant spot. Usually the default plant spot is right by the window because it can be watched very easily. It can also be watched very easily from upstairs then. As the floor is destructible, you can just shoot that little bit out and you can see a lot of it with relative safety. Jaeger's done a great job of breaking those down and picking up that 2k, and I think Harriers are going to be looking at themselves and thinking that's probably a round we've thrown away there after such good momentum. And it really can be that simple to try and tilt a team and to try and throw them off. If everything's been going their way up to this point and all of a sudden they lose a round that it really looks like they should have won, now's the time for the smugglers to react to that and to try and start chaining these rounds together and to do a little bit of a better job on their own defences, because it doesn't take a lot for the momentum to shift in Siege. It's something that we talk about all the time because we see it all the time. There's a couple more rounds left of defensive phase for the smugglers until they're going to actually switch over onto attack. And I believe we're going to see that mute jammered, so that's not going to do a great deal versus a sledgehammer. I think you've got to be accounting for that and making sure that you've got a reinforcement in place. If you're going to look at reinforcing the triple wall, you really want to be making sure you get all of it.
Certainly do. So looking towards round number 5 then, this is one that Harriers are really going to want to win. It's an important round here. If the smugglers can get another win chained together here, they are all of a sudden 3-2 when they've really been struggling so far on this map, and things all of a sudden don't seem quite so bad anymore when you're 3-2 and looking at taking the half. I think if the Harriers come out of this half with anything less than a 2-round advantage at 4-2, they are really going to be asking big questions about exactly what has happened there, because they've come out looking very strong so far. But it looks like they're just going to slow down a little bit this time. As we've commented, we've seen them coming out with very quick first bloods, generally speaking, the Harriers, but they're happy to just take this a little bit more methodically. I think I don't really know why the last round they weren't punished for that early aggression. If anything, they got themselves to a 5 versus 3 very quickly. So I don't think it was anything that harmed them. I think actually slowing the game down is to Kingston's detriment. If anything, they've been playing very well in the early stages of the round so far. We're going to see the first kill coming in and taking that Jackal out, and that is going to just put them 5 versus 4 in favour of Bristol now. And we've got the Bandit here just juggling things around, trying to keep that Thermite out. We see him lose his charge there, but he does still have plenty to go, and I think he's probably just got at least one of those Thermite charges, if not 2. We will see the second kill coming onto the sledge, but that will be traded back out, and we will have Jaeger downed on east stairs as well. So we are effectively now 3 versus 3. It's the Vigil that's been taken out, so I'm not sure anybody will be in a position to do anything about that Jaeger who is down on east stairs. I think the remaining 3 are probably in and around site, so they're not going to have a choice of doing anything as the other roamer is gone. We can see Doc using his ACOG there just to try and play the angles into break. He does see the man from Kingston, but will lose the fight. That is a bit of a problem with his aim there. doesn't hit the shots that he needs to do, loses that gunfight, and that could be costly.
Yep, it does seem as though Jaeger is now going to bleed out. I think his last hope there was the Doc being able to get a stim pistol shot off, but unable to do so. Mute will take some shots as well. As Bandit is now left, just challenging onto the main door. I don't think he needs to get too aggressive with this. 30 seconds left on the clock. It really is on the Harriers to push in. And Mute's going to open things up there with a kill of his own. Now, Bandit's going to go up against the Blackbeard now. He's going to go for the C4 toss, but he needs to wait for the right time. 15 seconds left. There's still a lot of time to be able to do this. Jaeger is actually being picked up, so Mute must have gone absolutely huge and grabbed that one. 2 versus 2 now, as the Mute will get taken out for his troubles. A quick 2k there coming out for Bristol, and all of a sudden the momentum has shifted. Bristol are starting to chain these rounds together. I think it was a bit scrappier than maybe they would want, but it's a round win nonetheless.
I've got to say, Bristol certainly defended that better, but I don't think that round is necessarily all about Bristol winning it. I commented at the beginning of the round that Kingston Harriers played at a much slower pace through the first 30 seconds to a minute than they have done previously. They didn't go in, they didn't get that first blood within the first 20-30 seconds. They didn't take control of the time and the round, and that cost them there. But Bristol played into that very well and did what they needed to do, held their angles, played a nice patient game. They did lose the roamers, but they managed to lock it down from sight, and like you say, that play from Mute towards the end there, going big to get the Jaeger back on his feet, could well have been pretty important. And right now, if you're the Bristol Smugglers, you've got to be sitting there with a little bit of a grin. I think, you know, you've lost 3 rounds early on, you've not been able to get a win on the 2 strongest sites of this map, and then all of a sudden you're 3-2 and potentially looking at taking even spoils out of the first half of this map on Border.
Yeah, and you know, to come out of Border 3-3, I think you're going to be very happy with that indeed. And if you're one of the Harriers now, you're going to be sat there and you're going to be thinking, well, you know, we've thrown 2 rounds here. There's 2 rounds there that were really winnable from their perspective, and we've thrown them, and Bristol have done a great job of clutching up. And that just shows you can't write anybody out in Siege. You can never write off a team, as it doesn't take much for the momentum to shift and for a team to start getting the better of the other. I think had Mute not been revived, had the Jaeger not been revived, that really could have gone a lot more differently. And I'd like to see Mute starting to bring the shotgun. I know the shotgun isn't ideal, but if you play your engagements right, you're able to, you know, make good use of it, or, you know, maybe bring. I don't know why they're bringing the Mute. I can't quite figure it out. I'm not sure if there's something that the smoke could do that the Mute's also doing. You know, you get that deniability. Yeah, we've got Mute jammers and they can be a big deal, but if you're going to be bringing the Bandit, I don't necessarily think you need the Mute as well. I like how they've not brought Mute this round, as it is freeing themselves up to bring another gun, and obviously they've got the Echo as well. Unfortunately for Whiston, his round number 6 will be very short-lived. He will be taken out within the first 40 seconds, as he just getting that aggressive roaming on the Vigil, just struggling to get his head around it, struggled to master it. I think he was first blooded last round as well. Thermite will now continue to open up the bathroom wall, and Bandit will be left with a very tough angle to challenge onto. Jaeger grabs a kill elsewhere over onto the IQ, so that could mean that the Yokai drones are safe for the time being. Another couple of kills are going to get traded back and forward, but it's going to be Jaeger there grabbing that one onto Thermite. Thermite not just being able to see the crouched Jaeger. 2 versus 3 now, with Sledge still upstairs, unable really to aid his team and not really pushing in the same direction, which is a little bit of a shame. Jackal as well, finding himself over inside a CCTV. He's going to peek the hatch, but 17 is going to punish him for it. Now 3 versus 1, all down to Sledge. Is he going to be able to clutch out this round and take Harriers out of this first phase 4-2? There's a lot of time left on the clock, but he's got a long way to go.
Certainly does. 1 minute 20, so time is on his side, but that Yokai drone feeding back valuable information there on the location of the Sledge. However, he will go in and get that first kill, so he's now 1 versus 2. He's got Jaeger upstairs, so effectively he can split these into 2 1 versus 1s. He does need to be aware of his backside though. Shots coming in from the Jaeger there, not going to connect, so that's going to let the Sledge know he gets the first. He won't get the second as Jaeger rotates to attack from a different angle. angle. Great plays there to finish things off once again for Bristol, and they have got to be happy coming out of that 3 apiece. How close from the sledge.
It really looked like it could have been 4-2, and I think that would have been a dying shame because the Smugglers have really picked it up in the last 3 rounds, and they've done a great job of shifting the momentum and keeping the heads, and now I feel like they're playing their version of Siege a little bit more, which is always something that you need to do. You need to be playing your version of Siege, because if you start playing into your opponent a little bit too much, you can have a very difficult time indeed.
Certainly can. We are going to be swapping sides now then, so it's 6 attacks followed by 6 defends. So we've seen the Kingston Harriers go 3-0, come out of the gates very, very strong, and take the first 3 rounds, but then lose the following 3. So the Bristol Smugglers coming on to their attacking phase, carrying some real momentum now, and it's going to be a case of seeing. I'm looking forward to seeing whether the Harriers can translate that aggression that they've seen on the attack, going in and getting those first kills in the first 30-40 seconds. I'm looking forward to seeing if they can translate that onto the defence. I'd like to see some spawn peaks here. I'd like to see them breaking down a few barricades and just really making the Bristol Smugglers uncomfortable to approach the building. I always like to see that, X. You know
honestly, I think they're on the back foot now. I think the Harriers have got a long way to go.
That's what I mean. I think they just need to take it by the scruff of the neck and say, we're on this.
Honestly, I think the way that this first round plays out will be really key, but I think you could see the Harriers playing a little bit scared here. I'm not seeing an out-and-out roamer for a start on the lineup, which I know isn't something that you've got to bring. You don't have to bring a roamer, but look at the lineup the Smugglers are bringing here. They've got double hard destruction. There's nothing to deny the wall from being opened. That mute jammer can be shot very, very easily. There's a Thatcher, it doesn't really matter at that point. There's a Thatcher anyway that's going to aid opening that wall. And the fact that it's a mute and not a bandit means that you're going to be able to pre-place your X-Kairos, and then Thatcher's going to be able to rotate around. It relies a lot less on the timings of things. You've got Thatcher and Thermite, so you're going to be able to open up both sides. You're going to be able to open office, and you're going to be able to open up armory wall. I think that Bristol have got a good idea about how they want to attack this.
Imagine the danger if Bristol had brought us a Fear or an Ash here.
Well, that's it. This is
I'd always have one of them personally on an attacking lineup, and with that wall left soft as a half wall like that for the mirror, that's just destroyed in 2 seconds.
I've not been paying a lot of attention to how many times Jackal has effectively tracked somebody, but in this round it's going to be 0 because everyone's basically playing on site. Yep. Jackal isn't an operator that you typically bring on border. If you're going to want smokes, you're going to look toward more a Capital or something like that. Even with the mute jammer, Twitch is able to open the mirror, and that's now going to be really, really difficult for Slayer to try and play it onto. As you can see, he's having to rotate fully off it, and now he's going to go and play by the bomb. All that space now is there for Bristol to take, and all they've got to do is recognise that. So far, they're stacking 4 guys up in CCTV. We're halfway through the round. I don't think they're making the most of all the room and all the map they've actually gained at this stage.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think that Kingston could actually do themselves a favour here by just, if that mirror could creep forward with a shotgun and just blast a hole below waist level in that soft wall, just to avoid any approach from a Thermite to get on there and blow that open. But it looks like Thermite's going to have rotated out towards office anyway. We do have the Hibana playing downstairs. We've got a player on track down there. I'm not sure which of the defenders it is playing underneath, but it looks like Bristol now are just going to be paying some more attention to that half soft wall on the west balcony, and as I say, they must be kicking themselves at this point, because with an Ash or a Zephyr, that wall is already open. So we've got a little bit of a pressure being applied to the archives area as well. First kill comes out for Bristol, taking the frost off the board, so that's going to leave us now 5 versus 4. Shots will surely come through onto the mirror, but will not be able to connect. We've got a smoke grenade's gone off. Swift will trade one back out on the mirror for himself. He's playing some crazy little setup here around the 90 corridor with the holes that Hibana's opened up, certainly putting himself in a dangerous situation, but he's managed to get a kill from there. And if they are not aware of him on the Kingston team, which it looks like they certainly are now, but it will allow him to make a flank challenge onto office. No shots actually exchanged at this point, but the next kill will go in Bristol's favour, traded straight back out. So we are now 3 versus 3, and this is really going this way and that as we come down to 2 versus 2. Jackal and Thermite against Mirror and Legion, but look at the hit points left on that Bristol side. Maximum hit points, maximum advantage, and that will take their first attacking round, put them in the lead for the first time in this semi-final.
I think that it's a lead that's well deserved. They were able to get the plant down there and hold it fairly effectively. Yeah, they lost a few guys in the process, but ultimately managed to trade people out and came out 2 men and the diffuser down the better. So the Harriers now, I think it's fair to say that they're going to be tilted. I think it isn't going their way today. They've come in, they've picked up 3 easy rounds. Bristol have started playing. And now they're finding themselves in a position where they've got to reset and they've got to say, what are we going to do that's different? How are we going to change this? I'm seeing the pulse, but I'm also seeing Dock and Rug.
Yeah, I think if they want to change up what they did that last round, let's be honest, the half-wall mirror didn't work. I think really just get both of those reinforced. I don't see any major advantage gained because as much as... Right, okay, so arguably you leave that half-a-wall soft, you can challenge on through it onto the balcony, but you can't really challenge any further than where your reinforcement ends because you're just risking your own life at that point, so you're not gaining too much of an advantage. Don't forget that there is a single door to the left of the mirror, so by leaving the soft wall to the right, yes, you can challenge onto it, anything you see, but you can do that through the single door. If you put the mirror over to the far left, you can do it through the single door anyway, so you're gaining yourself next to nothing.
He's put the mirror in the middle.
I'm surprised by that. I was going to come on to that. But they've brought the Sophia this time, so that shows good adaptation from the smugglers. They've recognised that they were playing up against an external soft wall last time and no quick way of breaching it, so they have brought the Sophia, which would allow them to do that this time. As it stands, good adaptation from the Harriers as well, recognising that that probably wasn't the best setup they've ever had. So they've reinforced both walls there. They've then put the mirror in the middle, which again makes it a little bit different. You've got a long way to travel to be able to get out onto that single door and challenge anybody, and that's the point. Get your mirror hard left and then you can challenge immediately. X is going wild next to me due to that mute jammer issue.
I don't know if it's because there's a lot on the line. I think that both these teams are probably thinking, look, we've got a chance to play on a very big stage here. All we've got to do is clutch out this game. But that hurts me to see. The mute jammer there is easily shootable now as well from the position that Whiston's got himself in, just inside of CCC. I'm not sure if it's still there or not. It looks as though it's been taken. I mean, it's a mute jammer in the middle of a corridor. There's no other way you can dress it up. It shouldn't be there. Mirror's now having a tough time trying to peek over onto CCTV purely because of the placement of said mirror. It's much better to just shotgun open all of that CCTV soft wall that looks onto Armory Wall, and then you've got a really nice line of sight all the way through CCTV. You open up CCTV door as well. You have your door open, mirror all the way over to the left, and you get a good line of sight there in on CCTV. If you don't want to play that as mirror, let an ACOG play it, let somebody else play it. You don't have to necessarily sit there and play it as the mirror, but just so that it's there for one of your team to play. It usually does you fairly well at keeping hold of CCTV because it's very difficult to try and keep hold of. Another way of doing it is pulse from below. We have just lost a little bit of visual there. I'm not sure if we are going to bring that back just to us. And now we've got to sit up, you see, because it's not all as it appears on the camera.
Not all as formal as it might look.
No, we like to stand up. We like to just lounge around a little bit and just enjoy the game. So we don't quite sit all prim and proper all of the round. And mic cables can be something that do come unhinged. But so far we have seen a fairly back and forth game in terms of we saw 3 rounds go in to Kingston and then we saw 3 rounds go in to the Smugglers.
4 rounds.
Well, 4 rounds. So it's been back and forth in that respect. I think all the rounds have been fairly clear cut. We've seen some rounds that have been a little bit of a landslide and some rounds that have been a little bit scrappy. But the mistakes are starting to show through now, and I think that Kingston need to just sort of focus themselves and just really take a step back and a breath, because they're doing things that they've either not practiced or they've not discussed or they've not thought about right up until that prep phase. That mirror placement, for example, I know I'm going to keep going back to it. That mirror placement isn't something that you ever do if you've tried it once.
Yep.
And remember that you've tried it, and you've tried it at this sort of a level. So they just need to really take it back to whatever they've been practicing. I'm not sure whose map pick this was.
No, I'm not 100% sure. I think one thing that we can say for sure is that if this break, we understand it's a technical difficulty, if this break is going to benefit anybody, assuming that it is a break, the players may still be playing. We're not 100% sure. I believe they might still be playing. If that's not the case, the break would massively benefit the Harriers. If not, and they are still playing, then yeah, the Smugglers at the minute have got themselves a massive advantage.
I think at any rate, I think we're going to see some sort of a break to the players. I think they're going to continue playing that round, and we may have to rehost, get the players back in the lobby, and then get the scores as is, get the bans as is, and then move back into the game. So I think the players are going to see a break of some length, which, like you say, it's going to benefit one side dramatically.
It benefits the Harriers.
It benefits the Harriers because they're bleeding at the minute, and they need to stop. They need to stop that bleeding, which, you know, is something that you can do in a little bit of a break. You can look over at your teammate and say, "Look, mate, don't put that mirror there, please." and that mute jar in the middle of the corridor. Just like,
who was that? Come on, Matt, who was that?
Let's give that a rest as well.
But yeah, I think the Harriers will benefit from a break just to slow things down a little bit. Like you said, they really are taking some damage at the minute, especially if this round that we've just dropped out of, if that goes in favour of the Smugglers as well, and they find themselves 5-3 up, having been 3-0 behind, that is a huge momentum shift for the Smugglers. Like I said, they had some really good aggression early on, did the Harriers, through the first 3 rounds. And a
lot of confidence.
A lot of confidence. They came in, they were winning the gunfights, getting the first 1-2 kills every single round, and then it just disappeared. And I don't think that was necessarily because Bristol shut it down. I think they just sort of... It was round 4, I commented on it. They backed off on the attack. They didn't get into the map until about 40 seconds in. They didn't get any kills. And since then, they just seem to have really backed off.
It's a map, it's a round, sorry, that they should have won.
You've got to keep your toe to the boards, an old saying for you.
It's a round that they really should have won, and that can tilt you more than a round that you get absolutely steamrolled on.
Yep.
Because if you get the plant down, and I forget what it was, I think it was like 2v2 or 2v1 or something like that. If you get a plant down and you get the plant down and you aren't able to hold it, you know, it's going to tilt you to a point. It looks as though they've got over that tilt. We are sitting now at 4 apiece, so much closer now, and the Harriers have got the ability, if they so wish, to try and chain a couple of rounds together, which I'm sure they will be looking to do. A quick kill there comes out onto the Mute, so Mute going to be losing his life within the first 2 minutes or so. Attacking onto downstairs, onto ventilation. We've got a bit of presence upstairs. We've got Smoke just going to be receiving some wallbang shots as he does try and play that doorway close up. Much better to try and play that with a shotgun, but he will get wallbanged nonetheless by the C7E of Jackal. So a few lessons there. Reinforce the wall, play it with a shotgun, really force the attackers to come into your line of sight. As Jackal is now allowed free roam upstairs, he can try and get anyone on the scanner, but anyone that's been up here is probably dead at this point, so he won't get any joy there. Just going to set himself up watching the east stairs flank. As you can actually do that from that hatch as well. You can get a good idea if anybody is looking to push up, but Zafira has got up herself all the way over into ventilation room, and if that wall's reinforced, I'm sure she's going to go for a plant. Echo is going to lose his life there to Hibana coming down main stairs. All of a sudden we're in a 5 versus 2. It's all down to Thatcher and Doc. I presume that they're playing over inside of Workshop, and Doc will find one for his trouble. Frost as well, so that's going to bring us back to a 3 versus 2, so it's a little bit more doable now. The diffuser has been recovered and will start to be planted, but that reinforced wall is going to provide Zafira all the support she needs to get that diffuser down, and it has left Frost trying to watch that angle. Zafira, she's actually now watching the bomb from next to the soft wall, so that's an easy kill if Frost realises that, but Doc will be taken out, leaving it a 1 versus 3. And Frost is going to have to start moving into some lines of sight now. Whiston is holding on to the door into the objective. He did take a good couple of shots then, and I thought that engagement was going to go the other way, but nonetheless, it will be Jackal clutching out that round for his team.
Yep, nice line of sight for Whiston to hold there. It's not necessarily a common one, but it does give a good view into sight for anybody trying to rotate, especially when he knows that the bomb is down in the ventilation area, so they're going to have to move through the site if they want to retake it. So a good line of sight there, well used from Whiston to finish that out for the Bristol Smugglers, take them 5 versus 4 now on the scoreboard. But I think there was just a little bit of a lack of awareness at times from the Kingston Harriers there. Echo, I don't know really what he was doing at the bottom of stairs. He was heading himself into customs. There was nobody of the attackers playing in there, and it just allowed Hibana to come down the stairs and shoot him in the back. you know, I've got to imagine you're going to be hearing footsteps at that point. You've got to just be a little bit more aware in your ADS, checking your corners, checking those areas. If he checked the main stairs as he went past the bottom of them, he's probably almost certainly going to be getting the kill onto his countryman Habana. But that being said, what's done is done. We're going to see Kingston coming in and using that same reinforcement strategy that allowed the smugglers to get themselves the diffuser down last time, so we'll see how that plays out. It's not the end of the world, but you do have to leave yourself a strategy for defending ventilation. Leaving those soft sometimes and being able to gun through them can be a good idea, but it does leave them open to being breached relatively easily with somebody like a Zafir on the board as well. So round number 10, we are currently 5-4 on the scoreboard in favour of Bristol. Seeing a very similar lineup of operators coming round after round from them now, which says they're getting themselves into a nice comfort zone and they are ready to go.
Yeah, let's see if they're going to be able to do anything with it. C4 there being used to open up a rotation in between sites. I'm not all too sure about that. Kapkan could have impact grenades. Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame that Bandit C4 is something that is pretty powerful, and if you're not going to use your C4 to try and get a kill, you probably want to be taking barbed wire instead, just trying to slow down the attacking push. But nonetheless, it will be used. Just a couple of points of the utility economy, and that, you know, it really comes down to fine margins, and it might be something that you sat at home thinking, why is he going mad about a C4 being used? But it can be things like that that you need to try and make the absolute most of. If you watch anybody that is proficient on an operator, they will be squeezing every last drop out of that operator and all the ability, all the utility that they have at their disposal. You can see there, Kapkan is just going to try and evade that drone, and he is going to take some damage for his troubles. He is allowed to rotate back down main stairs. Perfect point there, almost being proved by the Pulse, I think it was, grabbing a kill there onto Jackal, as he is the Pulse, so he has got the cardiac sensor. It does make C4 in a little bit easier, but it's something that he can still use even if he hasn't got a C4 in his hand, as he's still got an idea of where the push is coming from. He can still locate people, shoot through floor, or ping out for one of his teammates that does have a C4 to get a toss off in that direction as well. Zafir, however, is going to level things out with a kill over onto Kapkan, so not sure if any of those EDDs are going to be effective this round. I didn't get a chance to glimpse where he was placing them in the prep phase, but I'm sure that if there's anybody that can find it, it's an attacker, as you do tend to run through a couple in a row, and before you know where you are, you're in a down but not out state. So they can be really good, especially against a team that has got a little bit of confidence like Bristol at this moment in time. Kills coming through there, one either side, as Pulse still using that cardiac sensor, still able to gather that information, and is now going to make a rotation up the stairs. So could be seen as a little bit aggressive at this point in a 3 versus 3, but I don't believe it's the worst thing he could do. Having said that, he is going to get cut down, and it is going to leave his two comrades over on site alone in a 3 versus 2 with less than a minute left.
Less than a minute, as you say, on the clock, and a little bit of work still to be done for Bristol here, and that is not going to help them get that work done at all. Swift coming in with a kill, but that will be traded out, so we're now 2 versus 1 in the man count, but Echo for the defenders does have a full bar of hit points, so he's certainly in a position to be able to challenge this. But good decision made from Bristol here. The diffuser will start going down. Echo puts the challenge on, but will not manage to get the first of 2 kills, and that will put Bristol onto match point here. Given the way the match has gone so far, I think Bristol probably need to come out and win this here, to be honest. I think if Harriers start getting a point back and it starts going to 6-5, maybe it starts getting a little bit difficult for the Smugglers to finish it off, and we might just see it to overtime. I'm pretty sure they are going to want to finish things here.
Yeah, if you get yourself on match point, you really do need to be converting that as soon as possible in a best of 3, because you never know what is going to happen in the coming fixtures and the coming maps. So I think you're right in what you're saying, Tim. The Smugglers now, they need to go out all guns blazing. They're attacking on Swarmery. It's somewhere that they have seen success previously. We're going to see a bit of a 6-pick there potentially, and I do like that. Whiston recognising the Jackal isn't providing him all too much utility, as they're not really getting themselves in a position to track anybody, because once they've cleared top floor, all the footprints have disappeared, and it's pretty obvious where the remainder of the defenders are going to be. They're going to be down on the site or in and around it, so opting this time instead for the Ying. That could provide them a good way of breaching in, especially if they're able to get into office with it. They can use those Candelas and try and clear out some rooms and cause a bit of a fuss. Ying, of course, an operator that you're going to be looking at as a bit of a beachhead operator, someone that you're really going to be able to mount an attack off, and you know, try and gain some early control. Even, you know, clearing out roamers if you're trying to get into CCTV, it can often be good if there's somebody playing in there. Get a couple of the Candelas in, push on in it, obviously off some drone information if you know somebody's playing in there. There's infinite uses for Ying on board, and I think it's a much better pick coming out there from Whiston than Jackal. Love to see it. I hope that he can do something with it this round.
2 minutes 50 then, 10 seconds into this round number 11, and it will be match point for Bristol, so they are no doubt going to be keen to get this one in the bag and get Border out of the way and get onto that second map to give themselves a chance of winning this Belong Arena Clash semi-final that will see them headed to Insomnia. Don't forget the winners here will get to play at the NEC on a huge stage, and what a great opportunity it'll be, so these players no doubt keen to get that one and get out there. So we will see now. 2 minutes 15, the drone in will start in earnest. We're going to have a couple of the Harriers playing in and around the office area. Good idea, they have to give themselves some options. One of them will get spotted on drone, and that allows Whiston to come in and put some shots through the soft wall there, but he won't manage to connect anything at this point, so he's just going to hold himself there, I think. Again, yep, more shots coming in. They're obviously seeing on the drones that they've got somebody playing there in the office area, but they're just not going to have any joy yet. We're going to have, it looks like, one of the Harriers ready to move up east stairs, but he needs to be careful with his timing here. Doesn't want to get himself ahead of the game. He just needs to wait until the opportune moment.
I think if you're going to take offices, you really need to be bringing some form of soft destruction in case that wall is left soft. 15 is going to grab a kill onto the mute, however, and that should open up offices a little bit for Bristol, as I think there was only one player from Harriers actually inside of offices. The next player is going to be Capcan, and he is playing over inside of B site, just inside Archives. Hatch open, so he can drop out, but he's going to be giving up the bomb site there, and that really could allow Bristol to just come in and take a plant, especially seeing as Twitch has grabbed one of her own. But no, Capcan is in a good position, but I think the plant is already going down. Candelas are going to come through. Impact grenade goes out, but it isn't going to be effective. There were so many things that Capcan could have tried to do in that situation, and maybe if he'd have had a nitro cell, he would have been more successful at trying to deny that. He's left trying to rotate up main stairs. Slayer Swift will grab one for his troubles, making this a 3 versus 4, and Mute moves in, picks up the first one. Is he going to be able to grab any more? He looks like he could be going for a jump out. He's getting shot in the back as well from Fountain, but he's not quite located the player. He does get the shot in over onto Fountain. He's going to jump out. There's no Claymore. All of a sudden we're in a 3 versus 1. Ying now has it all to do. She grabs the first. The counter defuse will go through as Ying is down, and that's going to be a round going over to Harriers. What about that?
Big finish there from the Harriers, not messing about. They got themselves a good couple of kills towards the end and left Ying all out in the cold. She had an awful lot to do, 1 versus 3, and it was just too big an ask ultimately, which allowed the Harriers to get in and get onto that counter diffuse and get themselves the round. That brings us to 6-5. The Harriers are going to have to take this round as well to take themselves to overtime. They're going to be going to possibly a slightly less favoured site, down on ventilation rather than upstairs in the armory. They did lose this last time they played down here, if memory serves correctly. They've certainly lost it at least once on the defences, so not 100% win rate down here, and it is going to be a big ask. That said, they know that they're within touching distance of getting themselves back to overtime and getting that opportunity to pick up the win here. It looks like 24 just coming in with a bit of a debate there onto the Tachanka pick.
Yeah, I think if Tachanka gets picked, you can pretty safely assume that's going to be your 6-pick operator right there. No one, I don't think anyone's taken, I could be wrong, but I don't think anyone's taken Tachanka yet in Arena Clash. But if you're ever looking for Player of the Week, that could be a surefire way of getting it. If you pick Tachanka and start to frag out, that's got Player of the Week written all over it.
Get an ace spawn peak.
It's got Player of the Week written all over it.
Play of the season.
Well, 6-5 now in favour of the Smugglers. They do only have 1 round to play with until we go to a potential overtime, but I'm sure they're going to be looking to try and close this one out. The Harriers, however, they're still in the fight, and picking up that last round is going to infuse them because the diffuser did get planted. I like seeing how many rounds the diffuser has actually been planted so far. We've seen 11 rounds.
It's been a lot of diffuser play tonight.
I think we've seen about 8 diffusers planted.
Which I don't mind.
I like it. I
don't mind at all. We've said countless times, play the objective, get the diffuser down, and it just really disrupts the other team. They have to change what they're doing. X's focus has just been taken, so I'll continue. We've got the downstairs defence once again. The rotation has been opened up. Capcan almost losing a second impact nade to try and open that one up, but he does realise in time. He's going to... I think we're just missing somebody on the ruck armour as well. Important if you're going to play the ruck that everybody makes sure that they get in there and gets that. We've got 2 ACOGs as well with the ruck and the dock, so certainly going to be wanting to hold some angles and watch some long lines of sight here. 1 minute gone, no major progress onto the upstairs or the site from Bristol Smugglers. I think we're going to be seeing a top floor take here.
Yeah, top floor take would be typical with looking to attack down onto a ventilation, although, you know, there's no harm in getting yourself through detention and getting over on into customs and trying to take from that way. Bristol doing a lot of droning. They obviously know how much this round means, and they're not going to want to take many or any chances at all. Whiston there just trying to get a grenade through and try and root out anybody that could be playing on that mirror window. So the angle there just isn't going to be too kind to him, and it is actually going to go off inside of the doorway. I think he's got to try and get a bit more aggressive onto this and really try and, you know, get close and try and get the nade out that way. But the drone work has come through and he's being allowed safe passage all the way over on into sight. All of a sudden, upstairs control has been gained, and Thermite can now go about opening the hatches. Hibana, that could have been your job, but I guess there's not many other places that you're going to want to use the Thermite unless you're going to be looking to try and open up bathroom wall at all. It's at this point now that the smugglers have to rotate off this, leave a couple of guys upstairs, but make sure they're applying pressure from elsewhere. A quick 2 kills will come through, 1 from 17 and 1 from 15. All of a sudden they have got the ventilation room. Claymore has been placed and the plant can start to go down, but it is Thermite that holds the diffuser, and he is all the way over on inside of Archives upstairs. Doc does get one for free as number 15 does drop the hatch, and I think luckily for Bristol he did manage to drop the diffuser just before that happened, but it's not going to matter anyway because 21's going to grab a kill of her own, and it's all going to be now down to number 21 for the Harriers. But no, Bristol are going to take that first map.
Bristol indeed come in and get the first map. I was a little bit surprised the way they were playing that vertically. They did have a sledge on the board, but there was quite a lot of shooting blindly through the floor. Get your sledge up there once you've got control. Start opening that floor up. Give yourself some lines of sight. But it is all academic anyway, as Bristol managed to get themselves in, get control and of the... get control directly of the site and get the kills that they needed to get themselves the win. So that's going to finish things off on Border before having to go to overtime, which I'm sure Bristol will be happy about. I don't think they really wanted to go to overtime at all after having that really good spell of wins. So that's going to put them 1 map up and 1 map away from the final of Insomnia. This is a big one.
It is, it is.
I believe we're going to be on Consulate next as well.
Coastline.
Is it Coastline?
I think it's Coastline.
Okay. But either way, you know, what have we seen there? What's the takeaways from that one, X, when we're looking towards this next map?
I think we saw Coastline play out last week. Oh, it is Consulate. It is Consulate. So we didn't see Consulate play out last week. But the takeaways coming away from this, I think if you're the Smugglers, you've got to be confident in your ability because we've seen them play very well tonight. That plant over in round number 11, I'm not all too convinced about because they managed to get the plant down, yes, but they didn't then manage to hold it.
It's not always just about getting it down.
They would have been better off just trying to get a couple more kills before that, getting themselves to the point of getting the plant down. Or if you're going to try and plant with 3 or more defenders left alive, have a good idea about how you're going to cut them off as they try and rotate back in, because I feel like they didn't have established positions and established spots where they were going to watch from, and they weren't setting up cross angles. They were just kind of stood there, and it was easy for the defenders to kind of rotate in.
I think if you're going to plant with a large number of defenders still on the board, 3, 4, 5, I think really you have to have the majority of your attackers outside of the map when you do it.
Yeah.
You don't really want them inside the building, because then they find a weird thing happens. As soon as the diffuser goes down, the defenders they just go haywire, and they start rotating, they start moving, and they start doing things you wouldn't normally expect of defenders, because they're moving themselves into unusual positions and angles to basically head back as attackers onto the site. So I think then when you've got players inside the map, they more often than not tend to get caught out by that, and you lose at least 1, 2, 3.
Well, you saw what Pulse was able to do in offenses.
Very quickly. Yeah.
All of a sudden he's getting shot from multiple angles. All of a sudden he grabs 2 kills and is allowed to rotate in and get the third. It was just...
I think if you've got 3 of your other attackers outside windows and outside doors externally, just waiting to hold angles, then it doesn't matter what the defenders do with inside the map. They can run around wherever they want. It makes no difference. All they're going to do is run into your crossfires and lines of sight. So if you go in for a quick plant, 1, 2, into the building max, get the diffuser down and watch it from outside as much as you can.
Rotate out as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
That'd definitely be a piece of advice that would apply, I think, to both sides as well. In the don't rush getting the plant down necessarily. That's something that you can... there becomes a fine art to that in terms of baiting and trying to bait kills, trying to bait the defenders into overexposing themselves to throw a smoke canister or a C4, just trying to burn through that utility anyway. And there becomes a point where if you're struggling to get the bomb down, it's probably because you're trying to plant at the wrong time. Getting the diffuser down should be something that either happens in absolute chaos, and it's something that the defenders are just so busy dealing with everything else that they can't possibly think about the bomb going down, or it's something that you manage to get down in terms of holding lines of sight, and you're going to have somebody hold an angle over your shoulder, you're going to get the bomb down, and then you're going to force the defender to either peek, win the gunfight, or wait for the bomb to go down and then try and retake. So if you're really trying to force the diffuser down and there's like multiple of you in the same room that are trying to do it, you're probably trying to get something to happen there that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, you're right. It's one of two. It's either, like you say, amidst complete chaos and you know that you're basically flying under the radar at that point, or you have that plant spot completely locked down and nobody can get near your planter, and that's really your two options for 99% success on getting a diffuser down. Whereas, like you say, if you're doing it where you're in the mix of everything that's going on at the time, the likelihood is that you're going to struggle,
because it's got to stick as well. And sometimes you give the defenders a real easy ride if all of a sudden there's 3 of you just stood there in the bomb site with the bomb down, and you're all kind of looking at each other going, there's now 4 defenders coming our way and we don't really know where they're coming from. All of a sudden you put yourself in a disadvantaged position as an attacker.
Well, we've seen it twice.
We saw it tonight. So I think something moving on to Coastline is, get the bomb down. I love it. It's good to see the bomb actually going down, not just being team deathmatch. But make sure you're trying to plant at the right times, and make sure that you're putting yourself... The plant is going to put you in a better position post-plant than you were if you just tried to get a couple more kills onto over-peaking defenders. But Coastline isn't a map that you see Consular isn't a map that you see a ton of plants going down on anyway, because you're not going to be able to commit to the building like you are on Border. You're not all going to be able to walk into office or walk into armory. If you're going to be getting a plant down, you're going to be looking at maybe one guy getting it inside a garage, trying to fly under the radar amidst the chaos, or get someone rappelling in off B windows upstairs into console and try and get a plant off in there. I don't think you're going to see everybody in the site that's the plant is going to be going down on, because there are really well established ways of watching that plant from outside of the map on console.
Half of your job on console is getting into the map in the first place. There's so many external windows and opportunities for peaks and runouts that half of your job is literally getting yourself established safely inside the map and getting some sort of control. If you're looking at a top floor push, getting yellow stairs or admin control, piano control, none of them are straightforward easy things. If you're looking at garage, really it tends to be played externally, but again, getting yourself piano control, getting yourself rear side control, again, not easy things to do, and that's going to be your step 1 and 2 usually, is getting inside and then gaining control. So on console, I think from what we've seen so far, if the Harriers can bring the playstyle that we saw in the first 3 rounds of that Border map, I think they do pretty well on console if they can bring that aggression.
It's if they can maintain it though,
yeah,
because they seem to fall off with it. It was like, we can play really well for 3 rounds and we can take advantage of all the mistakes that the smugglers are making, but then they got themselves to a point where it was like they were making more mistakes than they were capitalising on, and all of a sudden the map just really flopped in the favour of Bristol. Harriers picked up a couple of rounds for the Troubles, but it wasn't necessarily anything standoutish. I think it was more just Bristol having a tough time of working well as a team. I think there was a lot of mistakes really that were coming through. It wasn't necessarily that the Harriers really outplayed and did anything different. They were largely doing the same thing in the defence, and that's something that Bristol really got on board with and took advantage of. I think, again, a little bit of a break, getting the players in the next lobby, getting everything loaded up. This is time that they can spend chatting to each other as they move on into this next fixture, which will be Consulate, and it is going to be blue team to defend and obviously orange team to attack. And we're going to see the bans coming through now from the Smugglers. They are going to choose to ban out the Monty yet again.
Yep, the Monty ban on Consulate, I'm not too sure on that one. We don't really see generally a lot of Montagne play on Consulate. Again, sort of the garage door breach, anywhere like that, moving in through there, it's just too wide a space for Monty to have any real impact. You know, Monty's real power comes in pushing through single doors and tight locations whereby he can't get them shots coming in from either side to him. So a little bit limited use on Consulate there. We're going to have the Buck coming in as well. It looks like we're having a very similar lineup for the bans here, with Maestro coming. If we have Cav, then we'll have 4 out of 4 coming into Consulate. Again, Buck can be useful on Consulate, definitely. There is an argument for taking him out there, getting up into Piano, shooting down into Garage, etc. How about that, X? We've got 4 identical bans this time out.
That just shows that the teams have done the homework and they know what they want to take away from the other team. We've seen it time again. Wiston be great on the Buck. Cavi does seem to be a popular ban here on Xbox. Not really something that you're going to want to try and deal with if you do have a rogue Caveira flying around. You know, and Maestro, he's a staple ban in Siege at this point anyway. And the Monty, it comes down to like the human droning factor. We've seen teams try and force the Monty into the lineup in previous weeks here in Arena, and it's been successful sometimes, but more often than not I feel like it's been unsuccessful. So I don't really feel like the Monty ban is all too important really. It kind of just allows you to bring anybody that you like on the attack, as it's not something that teams are necessarily largely benefiting from. They often benefit more from having another gun on the side. So we will just have to see how it all plays out today. But we are going to be looking downstairs at a garage defence to start things off. But no Echo being brought. Echo would be an operator that I'd be thinking garage. I'd be thinking, you know, try and keep somebody alive, tucked away at the back, and let them try and deny the plant with the yokais.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a good few places where you can hide an Echo, and by that I mean the actual operator, not the yokai drones. He can squirrel himself away and, like you say, keep himself active right into the late round to use that, what is probably the best, you know, direct plant denial in the game beyond a C4. But, you know, let's be honest, the yokai drones have got far more power than the C4 in terms of their ability to actually visualise the plant going down and be able to directly impact on it. So yeah, I think you're right there, X. That could be a possible misstep from the Bristol Smugglers on defence. So we're going to see some early aggression towards that garage door area, which is not too much of a surprise. Teams do tend to focus heavily in on getting close to that garage door and getting it open. We can see the silhouette of Bandit just in behind there. He's going to have lost 3 charges there, I think. Actually, yeah, his 4th is placed as well. I think that's over on the stairs in the barbed wire. So he's not going to be in a position to play the Bandit trick here. It is very difficult. It's a triple wall, so gauging the sound as to where they are going to be placing the charges can be difficult, although generally the far right is the most important, so that is generally the one. But how about that for a C4 from Bandit? Love to see it. Gives up the Bandit trick, waits for that Thermite to open the wall up, guesses correctly that Thermite will be going for his 2nd charge straight away, and absolutely annihilates him with the C4.
How does he get away with that C4 toss when you got Sledge and Co watching over onto the garage door? It's really going to force. You can already see that Sledge is forcing himself and trying to rotate off that, because garage being open, that's great, but not really in the fashion that they would have wanted. Sledge is going to find a kill for his troubles, and Smokey the band is going to grab another one as well. One of the EDDs is going to hit, and Sledge narrowly misses out on another. It's now going to be a factor in his mind, and he's going to be double checking all of the doorways, as he has lost about 50% of his health to that electronic detonation device. Bandit now playing inside of Pipe's area, and he's going to have a tough engagement over onto Blackbeard if he peeks round onto Yellow. Now, for me, at this moment in time, the Harriers are in a good position to try and get a plant off, because they've got the Bandit that's the Blackbeard that's watching Yellow stairs. If Thatcher's actually able to get himself in, there's not a lot that they're going to be able to do to deny this, especially with Bandit vacating the site. Thatcher just needs to try and get the diffuser down, but Bandit's going to get picked off in the process. They've got all the control that they need. It's now down to Smoke, a denial operator that's nowhere near the breach, and Doc. Doc is going to be peeking onto the rotation, but it's all too late. The diffuser has been planted, and now it is going to be a retake situation. Doc has been downed in the process. Effectively now, this is all down to Smoke. We've got Blackbeard moving in. It's only a matter of time until he finds this Smoke, I am sure. Smoke does manage to find one with the Toxic Bay canisters, however, but Doc has still not revived himself. Surely he was in a position, there was a lot of time in between that him going down there and him actually losing out on the round, but I think he could have made... Oh, he did actually get himself up.
Yeah, he picked himself. Yeah, he picked himself up.
I didn't see him get picked up. He just got knifed.
Yeah, he got picked up straight away.
Why is Smoke playing back at like nearer toward Archive area?
Strange decision. Strange decision on the plant spot as well. I was a little bit concerned about the assassins getting so far into sight with Thatcher before planting. The problem with that spot over in that corner near White Van is that you don't leave yourself any method to directly challenge it. So for argument's sake, if a defender manages to retake Yellow stairs and then they can get somebody on to that diffuser, as you try to push in through garage to have any sort of impact on that, you're going to get picked off from Yellow stairs. So you leave yourself in quite a tricky situation. And it's further into sight to go. He had Blackbeard out on Yellow stairs. There was no reason that he couldn't just plant in default spot, bang in front of the White Van, and then that can be challenged directly from garage door from a distance with an ACOG, much safer. That said, they got away with it. I don't want to get on the backs, but it's obviously just something to sort of watch for in future. If they're using that same plant spot, it could be their downfall. So we're going to be heading towards the top floor now. Bristol Smugglers choosing to mix the site up, so I have no problem with that. I do like to see it when you lose a defence somewhere. If you don't feel like you were particularly close, or you don't feel like you necessarily have the answers to what cost you the round, it can be better to just mix it up and move on. So we're going to see top floor here. We quite often will see more pressure applied to the admin side. That's a bit of a personal preference for me. I like to get 3 or 4 into admin, take some control and start clearing from that side, and then get one out onto those windows to the console office and just see if you can pick anybody up in the crossfire.
Moving in now to round number 2. And what are we going to see this time from the Smugglers? They didn't have a very successful first defence downstairs in garage. They have opted, of course, to switch things up. Makes a lot of sense. The top floor can often be seen as, you know, maybe more superior than downstairs, as it can be a little bit easier to hold in some regard. Pulse already on an aggressive run out, and he does manage to find the kill onto the Blackbeard. Great game sense there from Pulse to actually get himself over and jumping out, I think, maybe near Yellow stairs and rotating all the way around. So it was a hell of a rotate. He's going to lose his life for it nonetheless, as Sledge is downstairs in Circle Desk, but traded straight back out by number 15. So a good set of trades there, ultimately falling in the favour of the Smugglers, doing a great job of making sure they're in a position to trade each other's deaths off, and it's always going to leave you in a very good position indeed, especially as a defender. If you can do that, it really does now mean that the Sledge and the Blackbeard died pretty much for nothing, as the control that they had and were trying to make good use of, it's kind of been lost now, as Jaeger's been allowed to kind of retake that ground floor. Rook is holding on an angle over onto the top of Yellow stairs, as Doc has got an angle over onto Visa stairs. It's now going to be on Jaeger to rotate back up and join the fray for this final minute or so of this round. But so far, I think the Harriers are going to have to do something pretty special if they are going to want to try and take control of this round.
Yep, not a lot of progress here so far from the Harriers. Like you say, 2 minutes into the round, we only see Thermite now getting himself into admin. He's very soon going to find himself head-to-head with Doc. He's going to shoot out that barricade, but if Doc uses his head, I don't think he's going to push him quick enough. He's shooting out a barricade will generally use the majority of your magazines, so that would have been the point for Doc to rush in there and catch him on the reload. It will matter as Thermite gets himself round the corner and gets a peek onto Doc. That will get the kill and get some control over this side of the map for the Harriers, but the assassin will lose his life, meanwhile leaving us in a 3 versus 2 in favour of the Bristol Smugglers, and this is going to be difficult for the Harriers from here on in. It looks like Thermite could well get himself gunned from behind here, and he will indeed. Jaeger with a great rotate up the round stairs. He's going to now be able to push into admin potentially as Hibana comes up those stairs. What is going on? He will, however, get the kill. I think if he loses that one onto the Zephyr, his team would have gone wild. I can only assume they both thought that they were on the same side. It does happen from time to time where you just lose your focus, and we just had a little bit of a meeting of the minds there before the shots were fired.
I think I've lost my focus. I think I left it a while until I said anything about it, because I thought to myself, you know, give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe he's just waiting to get the headshot off and trying to close things out in a bit of style, but no. Heck of a round coming out there from the Smugglers.
Heck of a round indeed. Looking towards round number 3 then, we are currently 1 apiece. I think X is finding a lot of excitement in being added as a mod on the chat now, so
no big deal.
No big deal whatsoever. I mean, I had it first, but no big deal. So we're going to be, by the looks of those silhouettes, I think we're back down on Garage. Thank you to our observer for just running me down there. We are back down on Garage. What do the Smugglers need to do differently on Garage compared to what they did last time, X?
I think if they're playing the smoke again, so they need to be playing that smoke in a position to deny the wall being open. Often for Garage, you will just assume that the wall is going to get opened, and you won't even bother bringing a mute or a bandit, because there's so many different ways to open up that Garage. My personal favourite way is to run Ash, repel upon the south side. The furthest left window that you can see on that left facade of the building, shoot that one open, Ash charge or Zephyr charge through onto the floor, and then you can shoot off any bandits, mutes or cades. You can also stop the bandit from being able to bandit trip because the floor is open above him and you're there ready to shoot down onto him. So typically I think the bandit is a little bit of a sort of, not a wasted pick, but it can be seen as a wasted pick, because that wall is going to get open now. It's all about the amount of time that you're able to consume in trying to keep that wall closed. It seems as though Bristol are going to be able to eat up a bit of time just because Kingston aren't necessarily as proficient as they could be at trying to open it. That being said, it is going to get opened within the first 50 seconds, so that tells me that the Bandit's a little bit of a wasted pick there, and I'd much rather see the Echo, because you know at this stage that the wall is going to be opened by the Harriers. Having had the wall open in the first minute of the round, I'd now be looking to switch off the Bandit, to switch for the smoke, and say, Bandit, you go and defend backside and watch yellow stairs or similar. Let smoke come to the front, and then he's going to be able to shut down the rotation through the reinforced walls, as the second half of the reinforced wall is going to be open, so one either side. That's going to provide a nice long line of sight in through, especially with that rotate that's being made, and the headshot almost certainly going to come out here. There we go. Whiston going to lose his noggin as Jaeger, as Sledge is looking for his second as well, and he is going to find it. Back-to-back headshots there for the Sledge, making this look easy. Is he going to find the third one over onto Doc? He's almost certainly in the best position to do it. Smokey the Band is going to grab one over onto number 15, and everything is going the way of the Harriers. Minute left, 5 versus 2.
Harriers definitely proficient at attacking this site, but Smugglers will get themselves one back. It looks like Swift just pushing into site there, going to challenge the Doc with the Ying, but we do see 2 quick kills coming out from Bristol just to mix things up. The Doc will be taken out though, so that now leaves us 2 versus 1. 1 versus 1. Can the Legion clutch this out? He just needs to play it sensibly. The Ying starts putting charges out onto the stairs. Out go the Candelas. That's not going to do the job. The diffuser diffuser is down. Now, I'm pretty sure Legion will know that goo mine triggered, so he knows now that the Ying is in the vicinity of that diffuser. I personally would have liked to have played that a little bit harder, but he has rotated. Will he get the shots? He does put them onto the Ying and will win the round for his team. Great plays there, showing that there is more than definitely one way to skin a cat.
I think that's why 17 won that round and why you'd have probably lost it.
I wouldn't have lost that round. I'd have made the challenge directly onto diffuser with the goo man triggered. No problem.
Played to perfection. Beautiful rotate round. Ying then has so many options and so many angles and corners to check as soon as that diffuser has been picked up and trying to make a way over on into the site. It's just too many to check at that stage because Legion could have been absolutely anywhere, and he's able to pick up that kill with ease. Harry is now opting for the Finker, maybe looking to for that to kind of try and change their fortune, as we are going to see a lobby and press room hold, as Bristol have of course won their previous two defensive rounds, so they will have locked out garage and top floor for the time being. They are going to have to play down here until they're allowed to go back upstairs again. Now, it seems really strange to me that the Harriers have not kind of recognised this. We've not seen a lot of Glaz all tournament, so I'm not really expecting a Glaz pick. Glaz on Xbox can be very difficult. You've obviously got the DMR. It can be, you know, very tricky to kind of land those shots with that. But someone like Blackbeard, that's an operator that we've seen multiple times. To not bring him on this attack, it does just seem a little bit off.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. You definitely want somebody who can make good challenges at range from that double door. Like you say, Glaz is ideal really, but Blackbeard as well with his face shield can make him a formidable opponent on this objective. So looking towards round number 4 then, we are 2-1 in favour of the Bristol Smugglers, and the Smugglers having won the first map on Border, let's not forget. So if they win here, they will be taking themselves, they'll be packing their bags and heading off to Birmingham for that final on the stage at Insomnia. So it's certainly all to play for. Holding the nerve very well so far. I'm sure they're going to want to come out of this defensive phase 4-2 at least. They're going to want to take an advantage here before going on to the attack. We can see they've got a Roma all the way up there in admin. They're going to be holding this top floor. They're not going to want to give that up too early because it can be very powerful attacking this site to get in there, especially with the sledge. Start opening things up and you can really help cover that plant there. So no surprise to see that we've got Legion and Jaeger upstairs, and it looks like we're going to have some early aggression towards the Visa area, but upstairs being largely ignored at this point. First kill coming to Bristol, 2 minutes to go.
Going to be traded out straight away by Assassin over onto Legion, so not all too many goo mines are going to be placed out throughout the map. Having said that, one is going to trigger almost instantly. Jaeger just watching the top of Visa stairs from admin, and he's going to be in a very powerful position to try and make a rotation over on into theatre room or projector, as another kill comes out for Bristol as well. That's going to take out Thermite Finker, not in a position to try and trade that one back. Is going to pop the Adrenal Surge and does manage to land some good shots there, getting it down over onto the... Oh no, it wasn't quite down. I think Castle just went prone at the right time. So Finker not making great use there of the Adrenal Surge, but the plant will start to go down. Jaeger on the stairs is going to be gifted with a kill, but no! Finker flicks round and grabs it for herself. In and amongst the chaos, the diffuser has gone down. Whiston grabs one of his own. Assassins trading it straight back. It's now a 1 versus 1 as Assassins and Whiston trade another 2. Equally, it is Whiston now going off against Assassins. So both these players have had plenty of kills throughout this round, but it's going to be Assassins with the better gun for the slightly longer angle, holding over onto Piano Room, and unfortunately for Whiston, he's not going to be able to make that one stick. I think perhaps it could have been his headgear that gave him away.
Possibly.
He was rocking the Magic, Rainbow is Magic playlist smoke headgear there, which I'm a big fan of that playlist. I think it's a lot of fun.
I think, yeah, I had a good couple of hours on there the other day doing the Attacker Drones challenge, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think they've done something well with that. I think, you know, just mixed it up a little bit. But yeah, the headgear probably a little bit of a giveaway, to be fair. So round number 5 then, as we move forward, we're going to be 2-all on the scoreboard. Very close game so far here on Consulate. No obvious sort of tearaway winners at the minute. The Harriers doing very well attacking Garage, also having a good attack there, getting the diffuser down in lobby, although I felt that one was a little bit closer that time. I think they've probably had more dominance in Garage, although Bristol did win there last time thanks to a nice rotation from the Legion, but Ying unable to finish it off. Ying just focusing a little bit heavily on getting the diffuser down once she had it in hand. So moving on to a top floor defence now. Bristol, I'm sure, are going to be very keen to get this one in the book, get themselves to at least a guaranteed draw on the half, but I'm sure they will want to take this 4-2 if at all possible. Little rotation being opened there by the smoke to allow in and out movement from the closet area without having to put themselves in view of those 2 single windows.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of a less than typical attack last round over onto lobby, and that's not really something that you can kind of prepare for as the Smugglers. So I don't think that they're going to be kicking themselves too hard for losing that previous round, but they are going to want to try and make a bit of a difference upstairs, as it is somewhere they did do very well in previously. But kind of come down to a 2 versus 1, and I think it was 17 on Jaeger. Had 17 not got that kill onto Zafir after they both checked each other out for a little bit, it could have gone very different indeed. Smoke with the shotgun, you love to see it, playing a nice close angle, but no, a careless rotation from Rook is going to gift Sledge with a kill from B windows. Sledge now being allowed to drone, but a Finker boost coming in could play into his mind, and he maybe just feels like he's going to try and make full use of that and rotate on in, but he is going to stick to his guns, stick to his plan, and he is going to in fact drone, finding out that there is a smoke playing just inside the little cubby hole of cabinet. 2 frag grenades come in, and that is going to see the smoke down. Now he is in a position where Doc could potentially revive him without sort of overexposing himself all too much, and I guess if this smoke doesn't get revived, it's going to allow Sledge free entry on into B, which could be devastating. Pulse is going to make a rotation, carefully however, through into console room, as we've also got Jaeger joining the fray as well. Sledge hasn't capitalised on getting smoke down over in console. That just seems like such a massive waste. B was there for the taking at that point. On the other side of the map, however, Doc will lose his life. Traded out straight away by 15. The diffuser will be going down over on in A. Smoke has since been revived and is now going to be allowed to rejoin the fight, but he is going to get killed from the top of Visa stairs.
I just don't think Smoke was supposed to be alive in this round.
It's just a difficult job now. Assassins is going to grab one onto 15. It's all now down to Pulse. Pulse is now downstairs, and he is going to get a C4 kill. That had been great about 35 seconds ago when the plant was actually going down. Rotations being watched, and that's an easy kill there coming out for the Harriers, clutching out another round.
Yeah, the Harriers getting themselves a good bit of wind beneath their wings at this point and just stringing together a couple of rounds like we saw them do so well for the first 3 rounds of Border. That's going to take them 3-2 on the scoreboard now, and I'm sure they're going to be keen to take this final attacking round and get themselves onto that magic 4-2, an advantage for the first half of this map on Consulate. Meanwhile, for the Smugglers, what do they need to do? Again, I don't think it's necessarily anything that they're doing wrong specifically, just that the Harriers are getting in there and winning the gunfights and getting themselves the man advantages, and then they can set up the crossfires, and we're seeing a lot of trades come out in the late rounds. That being said, the Smugglers need to basically try and slow things down a little bit, I think. Keep themselves safe, hold their angles, and just make those gunfights hard. Maybe try not to challenge them too much. Have people move into their line of sight, being that they're on the defence now. We are downstairs in Garage again, so we have had a successful defence down here, although it did come to a 1 versus 2 clutch, I think it was, for if memory serves, when everything was sort of shaken down. It ended at 1 versus 2, and the Legion managed to pull that that one off. But as I commented at the time, you know, he did make a bold choice on the rotate, which did work out for him, but he did put himself with an SMG into a longer angled challenge against the ACOG LMG of Ying, but I think Ying just focused on getting that diffuser down and lost the gunfight. So heading into round number 6 proper then, I'd like to see maybe a bit of attention applied to the backside here from the Harriers. They haven't done so far, and I think it could just really mix things up, and it's not going to be something that Bristol would expect.
I don't think they expected the spawn peak coming out from Whiston able to take out Finker. That's going to be a really big kill. Finker, an operator that they're going to be looking towards for some grenades, and obviously that adrenal surge. To lose that and to go into this round essentially 5 versus 4 straight off the rip isn't going to do the Harriers any favours at all, and I feel like we're going to see a very similar scoreline at the half as to we saw at Border, it all being equal. Thatcher keeping himself back out of the action for the time being, just waiting to see how Bandit decides to place the batteries before using any EMPs, but Bandit is just being allowed to kind of juggle as he wishes, but I'm pretty sure he isn't going to grab this first exothermic charge as it does come through. EMP goes through as well, but Bristol 21 is going to hold his ground, and that is going to eat up the second exothermic charge. C4 toss come out, it isn't going to work twice, I'm afraid. He did see very good success with that in the first round, but at this point he's kind of just thrown his C4 away. He's eaten up a couple of exothermic charges, which is good though, with only one side of the garage wall being open, and it is the less than typical side to try and mount a plant from. It does provide a good long line of sight on into the objective, but it isn't going to do you any favours if you do want to try and rush in and sneak behind that white van, because now Bandit is allowing himself to play there behind the white van. He's also got an ADS to help him as well. All he's got to do is try and waste as much time as possible. Smoke picking up a kill of his own over onto Zafir. All the soft destruction now going to be removed at a distance at least. Still got Sledge, and maybe it would have been nice for Sledge to get in above Piano and try and make it uncomfortable for Bandit playing down there. Look at that for a peek. Debates the Sledge into thinking that he didn't see him, and then comes out with a headshot. Traded for his troubles. 4 versus 2, minute left on the clock. Looking good for the Smugglers in this final defensive round.
Very good indeed. They really haven't been challenged at all so far. The Kingston Harriers not showing anywhere near the ability to attack this site that they have done previously when heading down here. So great stuff from Bristol. That being said, we've got 2 players who are sort of low on HP, Smoke more so than Rook, but with 30 seconds to go, they just need to start holding their angles now. It looks like the attack is pretty much going to come from Garage Door. The 2 remaining Kingston Harriers players are down there, and this is becoming very one-dimensional. This is why I said I'd like to see them applying some pressure to the rear side, but it's not something they've been able to achieve. We see Thatcher move in and try to get something going. Unfortunately, the only thing he'll get going will be his life out of the door as Whiston steps in and gets the kill onto him. We have Thermite moves in, guns 1. Doesn't gun 2. Defenders win in terms of the time running out, and that will be another round going to the Smugglers then. So that will be 3 apiece on the half.
Bandit defended that very, very well. The way that he was able to eat up the exothermic charge, he got a little bit lucky, but I guess he did leave the side open that mattered a little bit less, because we saw as Thatcher rotated in through that open garage door just how difficult it was for him to actually get around the side of the white van to look to get a plant off. He was cut down with ease in the process. So a great round coming out from the Smugglers. A little bit lackluster, I guess, from the Harriers. They had all the utility that they needed to try and open up the floor. You can, as we discussed, you can even open it from Repel, and it just doesn't allow Bandit to sit there and trick, and it's just not something that really ever enters a Bandit's mind, because he's so conscious of the floor upstairs. He can't operate safely in Bandit tricking. It just seems a little bit, you know, unfortunate from the Harriers that they kind of didn't recognise that, as I feel like they've probably attacked quite well there, and they probably deserve to come out 4-2 at this moment in time. The Smugglers, they're getting through by the skin of the teeth, and they've got a long way to go if they're going to want to try and clutch out this map in the series.
Certainly do. Looking at round number 7 then, we've switched sides. We're going to see a Fuse coming along, which is a slightly unorthodox pick in terms of operators, but if you're going to bring him anywhere, this isn't a bad one. Get in and get control of Piano. Fuse certainly has his uses in terms of not looking for direct kills, you're looking more to move people out of areas. So it's important to set up crossfires in relevant positions before you start using those Fuse charges, because inevitably what you're going to do is you're going to force the defenders to start moving around, you're going to force them to start rotating, and that is the opportunity then for those angles to be used and for people to just start gunning them down as they have to rotate. So the mirror window is going to be placed on the garage, which again can be another risky one, but we don't have a Hibana in place, so that's not going to impact too much, and it does make a bandit trick easier. But that being said, we don't have a bandit, so how is this mirror going to be used? Because at the minute Thermite could pretty much get himself up there and start looking at getting this cleared out. There is a Thatcher that will have cleared off any mute jammers, so it should be a fairly easy process, mirror window or not, for Thermite to get himself up there and get that garage door open. 1 minute done, and not too much direct progress into sight, but as I suggested, Fuse is in Piano. Vigil choosing at this point not to challenge him. Maybe he's not aware that he's there.
I'm not sure, because those cluster charges are pretty noticeable. You're not going to... There's nothing else in the game that makes that sort of noise. Vigil's going to make the challenge, but it's going to be a little bit too late, and 17 is going to be allowed to clean up that kill. And another over on into A bomb site, over into the kitchen there, and that's really opened things up for the smugglers. The wall has been opened as well, but at this point it's provided Mirror a perfect window to peek from, because she's able to use it essentially as just a peek mirror. She's still got 2 reinforcements and can just peek out of 1. There we go. She's going to make good use of that, grabbing the first kill of the for the Harriers over onto the Thermite. So no more of the wall will be opened. Sledge and Fuse still operating upstairs. Sledge trying to find those vertical angles and making sure that there are plenty of them as well. As he's got the hammer, he can open up the floor for fun. Nothing though is going to present itself, as I do believe the defenders are looking to try and rotate. We've got Pulse just coming up of back stairs now. The plant was threatened then, but it didn't actually stick. Mirror was able to deter that from happening. Yellow stairs now will be the focus, and Mute is going to grab that one. That's a big kill. That takes us to 3 apiece now. Mute is left to try and challenge onto this diffuser that's going down. Whiston going to find one of his own, but it's going to be Mirror that comes out clutch, getting the kill onto the planter. So now we've got some focus onto yellow stairs yet again, and Mirror, it's going to be Mirror. It's going to be a round of Mirror. She's going to find the final one. No, it's going to be a quick 2k for the Twitch. I really thought that Mirror was going to go huge there and clutch out that round, but it wasn't to be. The F2 there proving its worth and cutting through those final 2 defenders. A round that Bristol really probably shouldn't have won at that point, I think. Yeah, I'd agree with you. The F2 having an awful lot of worth, as we all know, one of the best guns in the game, just moves in and get those 2 kills. But as you say, I think Mirror doing a fantastic job there of stopping that plant going down for starters. I think it was just a little bit too far over to the right, as you would look at it if you were moving in through the garage door to plant. Just too far to the south side of that white van, and it just gave Mirror the angle to be able to see. And I mean, not too often that you see a Fuse kill. I think somebody just getting the feet caught underneath them in kitchen and not being able to move quickly enough to get themselves out of the way there and lost their life to a Fuse charge can be devastating. But like I say, maybe just a little bit ahead of time, because they didn't really have anybody to take advantage of the other charges moving players around. That said, we are looking at round number 8 then. We're going to be heading up to top floor for the Harriers to defend now. Where have we seen this before, X, where the Harriers come in and get 2 or 3 good rounds on the bounce? They got themselves 3-2 in advantage from being behind. I think they were behind 2-1, got themselves up to 3-2, and then all of a sudden it just looks like things might just start, they're moving a bit too quick, the wheels are shaking, and things start falling off. They really need to do something now. I think changing the bomb site is going to be a good thing, as that again is a round that they really could have, they really could have and should have won, as the diffuser was just on the floor at the top of garage, then in the door, and you've got to think about trying to defend that. And they really didn't have a plan as to try and locate and try and lock down the remaining attackers, and it was a bit of a shame because they did look as though they were in a position to do a good job of that. So changing up the bomb site isn't going to do the Harriers any harm whatsoever. The castle pick coming through, I'm not sure if that's going to hurt them or not, or if they've opted to maybe go for more of the castles on the B windows maybe. They could be very short-lived because of course we have got Sledge. No Blackbeard this time, but double hard destruction coming out from the smugglers. I think the smugglers were maybe thinking and expecting that they were going to be attacking downstairs onto a garage again, because there's not a lot of value in 2 hard breaches. You can see there Mute is allowed to just shoot off the Habana pellets with ease because no control has been gained of yellow stairs. We've got a lot of attackers stacking up on that skylight. You can see 3 silhouettes there. And you can't really have that. You've got to try and get some pressure on from elsewhere. Hibana is going to be allowed to open up that castle as... or is it muted? There could be a mute jammer on that. No, it is. It is going to get open.
Yep, so Hibana will get that opened, and that's going to allow her to drop down onto the rappel and get those angles onto long desk. So that cuts off a bit of a rotation for the defenders there, but it is a difficult one because the defenders moving through that area tend to do sort of sprint. So anybody on that rappel has to react very quickly to get the shots onto them. And as you can see, Hibana just going to drop off there as we've got Zafia pushing up the spiral staircase, and then just moves back down again. I think Bristol here just deciding they're not quite ready to push just yet and backing off a little bit. So we're going to have 2 established on yellow stairs now. We've got 1 at spiral staircase, and we've got something starting to build for Bristol here. The drones will come out, they will clear bathrooms so they know that that area is safe. Sledge is going to just use his gadget to get himself in there, and that gives a line of sight into the connector now. Bristol have done very well here. They've basically cut off all rotates between yellow stairs and the copy rooms, so great news for them. They just need to wait for players to move into lines of sight now. The first one of which to do so is 2 Assassin, and that is going to bring about the first Bristol kill. 5 versus 4 now. We're going to see Castle pushing onto yellow stairs. This is going to all be about now how are they watching that flank. I think Sledge is aware that Capcan is down in the copy room area, but as it stands, Thatcher is well into sight. Now unfortunately Thermite, you can't plant in that closet area. You're going to have to move through into the site proper, which he does, into the general default spot behind the desk. Slayer Swift does move up and get a kill. Smoky Bandits will get one as well, and this is all about Kingston Harriers as they really turn things around. They were at man disadvantage and they had a diffuser going down. They will move in, and they did stop the plant as well, so it was just a case of defending that diffuser so that it couldn't be picked up and planted, and that is going to close the round out for the Kingston Harriers.
The smugglers there getting seeing the unfortunate consequences, I guess, of not effectively watching your flank. It can be a very nice idea to rotate in from the top of yellow stairs like that, but more often than not, once the attackers have rotated in there, even if you've got a claymore or a flank drone or somebody watching that flank, I feel like more often than not that it just allows the defenders a clean line of sight over on into the site.
Yep.
And all of a sudden it just gets retaken like that, and we were a hair's breadth from the diffuser going down, and all of a sudden it's 2 versus 1 in favour of the Harriers, and Bristol have got to be sat there and thinking, what have we just done? We had great top floor control, we had loads of crossfires, everything was going out in our favour, and then all of a sudden 1 castle rotating up yellow stairs is enough to just cut the whole thing apart. Much better to try and get yourself in from B windows. Get yourself in, get the plant down in the default spot behind the desk and the bomb, and then get yourself back out again. And if you can leave that cubby intact, it's for the better, because it's just 1 less angle to worry about as an attacker, and 1 less line of sight to hold on the post plant. But Harry is doing a great job of staying in this fight, and it will take us 4-4 moving into round number 9. Now, don't forget, the first round that we saw the Harriers defend down here, it wasn't clear cut either. Bristol are having a tough time on their attacks, and they're paying for it. They're making a lot of mistakes. First round that we saw the Harriers defend downstairs in garage really could have gone either way. Slayer was on an absolute tear with the mirror. There is no mirror this time. I don't think it worked out exactly as they were expecting, the mirror on the garage door. but it wasn't the end of the world for him. They kind of were able to make it work a little bit, and I think Mira got a kill or so through it. But they've not brought it this time. They've opted instead for the double ACOG, which I don't know why you're not bringing Echo. Echo is going to be doing a bit of a better job at some of those long lines of sight, in that he's got yokai drones as well that can be used to try and disable that plant, because you're going to be expecting the garage to get open. You're going to be expecting to try and deny a plant of some description, but bringing the mute and the two ACOGs there, it's you've just not got anything to deny it with. You've got a C4, but you need smoke canisters. You need the yokai drone. You need something to try and deny this plant, because it's almost certainly going to get put down, as the wall has been opened within the first half of the round, which isn't too unusual. And Twitch will be busy doing F2 things, making it very short work of Slayer, who was playing on the Rook. Slayer, of course, being so influential in the last round we saw. It's going to come through as a trade, as Mute does grab one onto Thermite, but what about that headshot from Whiston? Just onto an over-aggressive Vigil there. Vigil finding himself on yellow stairs, just not quite in the right position there. He should have really been upstairs already with his cloaking device on, and trying to make something work with that, not trying to attack up onto the stairs. It's a little bit of an unusual angle to find, but 3 versus 3 will be the man count now, moving into this final minute, as Twitch has lost her life. Twitch, of course, doing a great job last round of clutching it out with a quick 2k at the end. So how is this all going to come to a conclusion?
1 minute to go, 3 versus 3. The attackers with no real pressure directly onto site here, holding angles with those ACOGs. Before long, they're not going to be able to continue to do that. They're going to have to get aggressive and start thinking about pushing site. They do have the diffuser in hand. We've got a Jaeger playing deep back in the archives there, just looking to cut off any potential rear side push, and that might not actually be a bad shout, because it looks like we've got Hibana moving downstairs now. We'll see Wisdom moving on the Jackal and just trying to challenge that tracked operator straight away. Does he know there's somebody behind White Van? I don't think he knew exactly where, but he certainly knew they were there, and he will get the kill onto the dock. We also see 2 Assassin being taken out. It's all down to the Jaeger. Doesn't know that the Hibana is on the rotation down spiral stairs, and will run past and lose his life. Just a bit of a panic there, I think, as the diffuser goes down. So where did it all go wrong for the Smugglers there? I felt like they were... Sorry, the Smugglers won the round. Where did it all go wrong for the Harriers? I felt like they were in good control of the site. They had the attackers outside trying to just work in with ACOGs. There was nothing really they could do from there. They had Jaeger in an excellent position back in archives, ready for that spiral stairs push from Hibana, but I don't think he actually knew Hibana was there, and by holding herself back on the stairs, it just kept her alive, and then Jaeger ran past after the diffuser went down. It was an easy kill. I don't know, I think they maybe got a little bit impatient and just moved around a little bit too much and gave the angles away.
I feel like they're just doing it to themselves almost, with playstyle and operator picks. If you're going to be playing the Vigil, he needs to be playing upstairs from the start of the round, and if possible, try and keep him away from being droned out early doors. So let him reinforce 2 hatches upstairs, let him do whatever he needs to do in terms of if he's got a bulletproof, and get himself upstairs. Get the hatch open that looks down from console into piano, and allow him to just play up there. Let him barricade a couple of the doors upstairs, which is going to slow down any attacker push that comes through. If the attackers try and drone him up there, he should really be looking to waste a minute to a half of the round. If he's able to take an attacker with him, even better. Last round we saw Vigil attacking up yellow stairs, onto a Jackal. All of a sudden, your roaming presence is non-existent, and Vigil's almost been a wasted pick at that point. So if you're going to play the Vigil, you need to play him in a position where he's able to do what he needs to do. And so we can see him now. He's going to look to be moving upstairs, which is great. At least open one of the hatches for yourself and allow... Yes. So he's got a hatch open. It's almost like a little tick list.
Here we go.
So we've got Vigil upstairs alive, tick. Hatch open, tick. Now he should be allowed to waste a little bit of the time, a little bit of the round. If anybody looks to come in from the Smugglers a little bit carelessly upstairs into piano, he could pick up a very easy kill indeed. Something else that he could do if the wall does get open, use his second impact grenade to open up the floor in Piano, which is the ceiling above the garage, and all of a sudden he's got a direct line of sight over onto the hole that Thermite is going to make, undoubtedly, because Bandit can only trick for so long. As soon as that happens, he's able to try and pick people off as they come in to try and get the plant down, and that could be a really good way of playing your Vigil if he's allowed to come upstairs. I think that is actually going to get Bandit tricked as well. We've got some great observing going on here tonight. We're able to see everything that we need, but no, it's going to be debated. And Bandit, unfortunately for him, is not going to be able to keep hold of the wall, and it is going to get opened in the preferable position as well. Vigil is going to get picked off upstairs. It will come through as a late trade, however, as Whiston does fall on the Hibana. All of a sudden, 4 versus 4.
Great plays so far on both sides, managing to get the Thermite showing a lot of patience there to get that wall open. Obviously important to their attack. The Bandit doing a great job to get one of those traded out beforehand, and we will see a kill coming out there onto 2 Assassins. So that will be the Bandit that will lose his life now, and this is starting to build some momentum in favour of the Bristol Smugglers. 2 rounds away, of course, from booking their place in the finals of the first ever Siege Belong Arena Clash, so they will be keen to make history for their team and get themselves to Insomnia. There comes another kill for Bristol, so that will be Swift taken off the board. We are now down to Frost and Doc. Frost's life cannot be long lived, but will be downed but not out. Doc will get the kill to protect his teammate and get out and get the stim pistol to bring this back to 3 versus 2. Meanwhile, however, the diffuser does go down, which will allow the attackers to retire back. Thatcher moves in with a great challenge onto the Doc and gets his kill, so that leaves Frost with it all to do. Shots pour in onto the Frost now. Surely this is a matter of time, and only a matter of very short time indeed, as Bristol Smugglers move in and get that final kill that brings them to match point. Not only match point, but semi-final point as well.
Series point now for the Smugglers, and they're going to be feeling pretty smug with themselves at this moment in time. At a scoreline of 6-4, I think they've got to be fairly confident that they're going to be able to take this map. They've just got to sort out their attack onto top floor, because that is where the Harriers are going to take us now for this round. Makes a lot of sense, because Harriers have struggled downstairs somewhat greatly, as they have lost every single round that they have tried to defend downstairs, only winning 1 round upstairs in console. So on paper, this is Harriers' round, because we've seen them win up here. We've seen the Smugglers struggle up here. Are the Smugglers able to adapt enough, and are they able to change their plan of attack and change what they were doing to try and turn the tides in this round? I'm seeing a fairly similar lineup from both sides. The Smugglers have been fairly well set in bringing 2 hard breaches, and it's not really been doing them too much harm. They've not brought Blackbeard, they've not brought any of the operators that you would usually sort of think of if you're going to be attacking upstairs. Typically, you'd get away with not even bringing a hard breach. You could get away with just bringing Hibana if you really wanted to. But the window play that can be achieved attacking onto this bomb site is something that shouldn't really be overlooked. I feel that could be something that the Smugglers could look to take more advantage of in the future. Something else they need to be really careful of, the Harriers, is you can see there that Castle has just placed a barricade, but I do believe there's also a Capcan trap on that door as well. So unless the barricade gets 11 hit, the Capcan trap isn't going to come to all that much use, and you can see there it is placed. So just a bit of communication there between the Capcan and the Castle required.
Round number 11 then. This is the same scoreline that we saw on Border last time. It went 6-5, and then the Bristol Smugglers managed to close that first map out 7-5, and they will put themselves in a position here of going to the grand finals at Insomnia at the NEC in April if they do get the win here. So 6-4, we're going to see some early attacking pressure applied to those single windows by the Zephyr. Just going to get back up on the rappel after that reload, I'm guessing, and just look to apply some more pressure, see if we can get an early pick here. We are 1 minute into the round, and with a ping on the board, She'll pop up with shots being fired out. That LMG just allowing her to keep on firing, but not going to catch the dock just yet, and will lose on the reverse. Always got to be careful of those reverse angles. Kingston Harriers staking a claim here, getting that first kill, showing some aggression and baring their teeth, getting themselves to 5 versus 4 on the man count and making things more difficult with those lifelines now gone off the board. You look across the gadgets that are left, and fewer of them are directly useful on this site. The sledge, not too much of an impact. Thermite Hibana, not too essential. Can be useful to open up a wall, but not essential. So that leaves the Thatcher to clear out those electronic detonation devices. That is going to potentially be deadly from the Capcam, but we will see a kill. Two kills come in as 2 Assassin gets challenged as well. 4 versus 3 now. Shots raining in onto the Thermite, but not enough to kill him. They are enough to kill the Hibana though. So that brings us to 3 versus 3, 3 versus 2. It's really going off here as the Kingston Harriers want to keep themselves in this. The diffuser will start to go down with the Thermite just on the threshold of that closet though, and in come the shots with a double kill from Smoke. The Bandits, and that will get the round for the Harriers. The diffuser was down. It's a simple counter diffuse process now. Plenty of time on the clock. 6-5. We're going to the final round here, X.
I'm just so disappointed. The Smugglers had a really good opportunity to get the plant down there. They didn't open the wall. You can see it's still intact. They were actually able to rotate in from yellow through the desk area into console, and I just thought that it was going to be game, set and match from there on in. Maybe they could have put the diffuser down in a different location, but it comes back to something that we were stressing in the pre-game, and that is that if you've got the plant down, try and get out the building, because they were just stacked up, both stood literally on top of the diffuser, and it was the easiest 2K that Castle's ever going to get in his life. He barely had to move his joystick. The push that came through from the other side, the sledge and the Hibana, just not quite as effective as they could have been. They would have been better off really biding the time there and not actually over aggressing onto the projector room site and trying to catch the remaining defenders of the Harriers as they tried to attack onto where the diffuser was going down over on in B. Having said that, Bristol, they're still going to be feeling pretty good. They're still going to have their heads because they've done very well attacking onto this bottom floor objective. We've seen them have a very good success rate down here indeed, and it's really on the Harriers now to try and clutch out this round and take us to an overtime, because if it goes to overtime, it really is anybody's, and I think we'll see a third map if it goes to overtime. I think if Bristol want to win, they've got to try and close it out here and now in this next 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think we could, however, have seen a little bit of a misstep from the Harriers here. You just commented on their success of this bomb site, and it has been very low on the defensive side so far. I think if they'd have taken lobby and piano as their objective on this occasion, they would have put themselves in a better situation to get themselves onto overtime here. They've just shown a very solid defence of top floor. Defending lobby and piano is very, very similar to defending top floor. You're usually going to play with at least 3 upstairs and try to hold the top floor for as long as possible, allowing you to challenge down onto that default plant spot. So I think just the play style that we've seen from the Harriers on the defence so far and where they've been successful would have given them a better odds-on chance in the lobby area. That said, we are where we are. We can't change that. They will be defending garage. We see once again 45 seconds gone and the garage door gets open. Shots raining, and that's a beautiful kill from the Smugglers straight in to take the head off Slayer, and that is the Rook as well that is challenging that angle with an ACOG in return, but just won't have the bullets to get the kill. So that's going to leave us very early 5 versus 4 in favour of the Bristol Smugglers.
So Pulse upstairs, going to find a nice engagement there as well. Just trying to level that man count out. I think Zafir was early to die last time as well. We saw this bomb site. Hibana just making sure that all the hatches are going to be open, but she's going to come face to face with Smokey on Pulse. and I believe Doc is playing down in pipes, so it is just going to be Pulse that's upstairs. Now Pulse is just going to bide his time to try and get this kill. We've got the hatches open, that's going to allow a little bit of discomfort for Doc down onto the bomb site, but the hatches aren't being pressured all that much, as we do see Hibana just holding an angle there over on in Piano, as Smokey is over in Z Corridor. Now, Smokey's feeling the pressure in. He doesn't really want to move around all too much. Not got a lot of hit point to play with. Whiston is going to be searching out for that kill and does find the down and the kill, putting the man count back into the Smugglers' favour, but it'll be traded straight again as well by 2 Assassin coming in clutch for his team, taking out the Thermite. Hibana is also very lit indeed, and it is all down to Thatcher at the garage door as Bristol 20 does take out 2 Assassins. So the Echo being brought this time finally by the Harriers is going to allow for some level of plant denial, and that's only going to get more and more powerful moving into this final 20 or so seconds. Thatcher's fairly pinned at this moment in time. He can't rotate in, and Doc's going to get a great kill there over onto the hatch. It's going to allow him to reposition as well, as Thatcher is now going to try and make his way in, but he's going to get picked up with ease by number 24 there, and the Yokai drone was waiting to deny the plant as well. 3 seconds left. There's nothing that Hibana's going to be able to do. We are going to see an overtime.
We are indeed. Great plays from the Doc there, although I have to be a little bit disappointed with Bristol there. Thatcher was being challenged at garage door by the Doc for about 30 seconds, so they knew exactly where the Doc was. They had players upstairs, didn't rotate fast enough down the spiral stairs to put a challenge onto Doc just in the double door corridor just before pipes. They knew that he was there, and they've allowed him to dominate the round there. So maybe a little bit of a communication issue, the Thatcher not shouting out that location of the Doc. If that Doc gets cleared off, there's a strong chance that the plant goes down. I know they had the Echo there to deny it, but that being said, they had multiple men left. So once the diffuser starts going down, the Yokai drone exposes itself essentially by stunning, and then somebody can shoot it off the ceiling, and then the plant would stick. I just think they weren't really mobile enough in that last 30 seconds, Bristol, there, when they knew where the remaining defenders were. They just wanted to get in through that door and get a plant down. We had, you know, one player on hatch just waiting for an angle, but he's never going to get an angle on Doc. He's got an ACOG and he can just challenge garage door without moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, Pulse did a great job of wasting a lot of time there as well, I think. Upstairs in Z Corridor, it really took both Hibana and Jackal and 90% of Hibana's hit points as well to try and actually clear that Pulse out. So it did work quite well indeed for the Harriers, in that they were able to waste a lot of time upstairs, and they were well positioned in those final few seconds to deny that plant. It was Thatcher moving in for that final plant, so yeah, the Yokai drone could have certainly been removed from play if he had any EMPs left. They're always good to just toss down before you look to get a plant off, because it will disable any cameras or Yokais that are within range. And of course, get rid of any pesky goo mines as well. Whiston just trying to get the edge there onto a bit of a spawn peak, but won't hold it for all too long. Doesn't want to risk losing his life that early on, as he rightfully just sort of gets off that and gets himself back down over onto site. Pre-placed bandits are going to be destroyed by the EMP, but there is still an still a shockwire left in Bandit's pocket, but I fear he's going to lose it again. No, the EMP was short. That could be huge. So he's still got 2. Kingston aware of this fact now, but Bandit is going to move off, look to get rid of the Claymore, and that's going to allow him. Doesn't quite manage to get to pick that EMP up before it does get destroyed, so gets debated a little bit there. I think it's safe to say going to come out with the C4 toss, but not successful. It's something that's worked one time out of I think 3 or 4 now that number 21 has tried it, and he's paid for it that time with his life, which it's not really a position that you want to find yourself in. You're much more valuable keeping hold of that C4 and getting yourself back behind the van, because the attackers have still got to progress into the garage. Yeah,
I think it's one of those that, you know, he needs to learn a lesson there. You only get away with those once. It was a great attempt, first time out, got the kill onto the Thermite, but he's not going to get another one after that. You know, you've learnt your lesson there. If you don't, then, you know, there's questions to be asked, but you're not going to get a second kill kill with that. And like you said, there's more value to it elsewhere. Right, so 1 minute 20 left to go. We are now 5-4 on man count in favour of the Kingston Harriers. They have definitely got a little bit of something about them this round, given that they've played well on the defensive garage a couple of times, so they are certainly now baring their teeth attacking it. It's showing. We saw that the first time that they were on attack, though. It was a site that they did well attacking. They were obviously well versed in what they were doing. I'm still not sure about this plant spot that they choose to use. It's the third time I've seen them try and plant there now. The diffuser will go down. Fair enough. 2 assassin getting a kill as one of the defenders rotates back into sight. 5 versus 2 on man count now. They should certainly be able to see this out, but we are going to see the first one of them killed. That will be a trade as the Legion in kitchen will get taken out as well. Shots coming in onto the smoke. 1 versus 4. Matter of time. 2 assassin keeps himself round about that diffuser that he's planted and gets that final kill.
I don't understand how the smugglers are giving up so much garage control as soon as that door's been opened. It's still possible to play inside of that garage with the door open. You've just not got to. You just don't peek. If you're not seeing pressure from upstairs, you've got no reason to peek at all. And Bristol just seem to be really giving up that bomb site. It's something that we saw. I'm surprised they went there, to be honest, because it's something that we saw them do on their defensive phases the first time round. Is they weren't very successful down in garage. They were much more successful upstairs in console and onto... no, they struggled onto lobby. They were much more successful onto console. So I don't really know why they went down to garage, because it's not somewhere that they did very well.
No.
And now
the Harriers attacked it very well.
And now it's match point against them.
They attacked it very well on their attacking phase, and so yeah, no surprise to come out and see them win it, and then no surprise whatsoever to see the Harriers now come out and take that top floor defence that we've seen them do so well on so far. They were really solid on the top floor defences. So much so that I even commented that, you know, they might have been better off taking a lobby defence at some point so that they could apply the same principles and have that top floor hold. Harriers here definitely in the driving seat, and I tell you what, wouldn't surprise me to see map number 3. You called it earlier, X. You said if it went to overtime it'd go to map 3. It wouldn't surprise me to see it here and now.
No, it was yeah, I think around 11 was the time of prediction for that one. Yeah, it's the Kingston Harriers to lose at this stage, and this one's for all the marbles. So I'm sure they're going to clutch up and they're going to try their best to take this to a map 3. The smugglers. This is when the tilt factor comes in. This is where they're going to be sat there and they're going to be going, look guys, we've been on match point since I think 6-4, and now all of a sudden we're staring down the barrel of going to a 3rd map. They went to a 3rd map last week and they did very well at trying to clutch it out, but who's to say that they'll do the same if they go to a 3rd map this week? Hibana just opening up onto bathroom there, but that is going to be muted. Thatcher coming through with an EMP. Shots getting fired over from Thermite. I'm just not sure of the use of opening all that sort of stuff up if you're not going to be there on the yellow stairs to take advantage of it straight away, because all you're doing at this point is allowing a line of rotation for the defenders to be able to rotate freely through the top of main stairs and into bathroom. That is if you continue to open it. At this point it is only a line of sight, not even a prone, because it is sort of midway up the wall. But a bit, you know, a bit slower of a push coming out from Bristol. And this is, I mean, this is something that we've seen them do every single round. We've seen them be very slow in their takes over onto the yellow side. They don't tend to rush it all too much, and they do try and get in from rappel in and that sort of thing, which it's okay, but I much prefer, if you're going to take yellow, you need to try and take it fairly quickly. There's no one being played in bathroom at the minute from the Harriers, so they could just thermite in and get straight into bathroom, and they've got good control there. They can try and use that to work on into the site from there. I do believe we are going to see thermite open in the bathroom right about now, as Hibana is going to get over onto the rappel, but Doc will be there peeking over onto the skylight, and I think Hibana's managing... Oh no, it's not Hibana. Hibana's going for a big 11 hit onto the castle barricade. You can hear Doc stimming himself up in the distance, which is actually going to dip out of that. So just trying to give the defenders something to think about, which can always be a good idea, as we do have Twitch, I believe, over on the balcony. Again, a much slower round coming out. Bathroom control has now been established, and Hibana is going to be allowed to rotate into yellow and open up that wall, and that's going to stop anybody from being able to play inside of the cubby. But again, I'm seeing the same thing from Bristol. A lot of people stacking up in one area. They really need to decide now what they're going to take. Are they going to take A or are they going to take B? Because at this moment in time, they're just getting caught out in crossfires, and Thermite will be the first victim of that going down.
Bristol honestly don't know what they want to do here. They've got a man in connector, they've got a man in meeting now, no diffuser. As I say that, they're coming on white 4 out, so they obviously do know what they want to do. You know, up until that point, what I will say on the back of that is...
What has just happened there?
What I will say on the back of that is, what a great rotate. They've got... Within 20 seconds of you mentioning that they had 4 or 5 men stacked up yellow stairs and bathroom, which was absolutely true, and that was the point where I was commenting where they didn't know what they really wanted to do. They had control of that small area but weren't really pushing onto anything. We saw a very quick rotation up into the meeting area and from the balcony side, and it just left the defenders complete. I think the defenders were so focused on the fact that there was 4 of them in bathroom and stairs, they didn't realise they'd actually left that area, and they just run in and shot them all in the back. So that was a very quick rotation there.
We are going to see every single round possible on Consulate. It is all going to come down to this for the Smugglers and the Harriers, as if the Smugglers win this round, they are going to go to our finals at Insomnia. If the Harriers win this round, we are going to see map number 3. Bristol are going to be on the defence. They have defended upstairs to a reasonable degree, I think. We've seen them successful up here a couple of times. But, don't get it wrong, this isn't going to be a cakewalk. We've seen some strange things so far in the 2 maps that we've seen.
Indeed we have. So coming into round number 15 then, this one is for all of the marbles in terms of Consulate, but for the Bristol Smugglers, if they can get the win here, it will be for the place in the final at Insomnia, playing on the big stage at the NEC as well, and I'm sure that's something all of these players will be keen to experience. So we will get into the action phase here and now. We're going to have the Kingston Harriers on attack. They did have a good attacking round last time where they attacked Garage. That said, they are now attacking the top floor, something that I don't think they've had quite as much joy with. Aware of the potential for spawn peaks there, they definitely want to be getting into the map with 5 men. The last thing either team wants to do here is lose somebody early. So it looks like Sledge is going to be heading himself straight up to the roof, probably get on that skylight, see if he can catch anybody on the rotate. It just looked like we were seeing the yellow stairs door shot out at the bottom there for the potential of a run out, or maybe they thought somebody was coming in via there because it hasn't been taken out completely. Finker is going to get herself on to the windows of Spiral Stairs to see if she can pick anybody up on a rotation past Long Desk or up the stairs. Not going to get any joy, so going to move on to Skylight, just shooting the glass out there for a better view. We're going to have Thatcher and Thermite looking to push from the Visa side possibly, but 1 minute 55 left to go, so more than a minute of the round burnt so far. How about that? I don't think Smokey the Bandits could just see the Bristol player through the barbed wire there. However, Rook could certainly see him and will hit a fantastic shot, and that puts Bristol in the driving seat. 1 minute 30 to go, 5 versus 4.
Jaeger there just narrowly missing out on an untimely death as 2 Assassin was putting some good shots in from Visa onto the bottom of Spiral Stairs, but Jaeger managing to get over on into Piano safely, but it's going to come back for more. Seems as though half hit points weren't enough and she's looking to take that fight full on, but it's going to be Whiston that steals that one away, as this is going heavily in the Smugglers' favour. They've got the diffuser down at the bottom of Visa Stairs, and Whiston and 15 are going to look to try and set up a crossfire to defend that. Very smart indeed, as they are both downstairs already, and a rotation up Visa Stairs would see them come head to head with Thermite. So much better to just try and keep that diffuser and keep it safe for the remaining 45 seconds of this round, as that is going to ensure the win if they do manage to stay alive. We do have Slayer down as well on the balcony, and 20 will be able to take out Thermite. So Finker down. It's essentially a 5v1 at this moment in time, all down to Sledge. Sledge opens things up with one onto Wisdom, but I'm sure that 15 is going to try and close things out here for his team. No! A little gunfight ensues, and a reposition there from Bristol. 15 will see the job done. Game and match to Bristol, and they will be heading on to Insomnia for our grand finals.
They certainly will, and I'll bet there's a bit of cheering going on at the minute in the Bristol Belong Arena. The guys there are going to be ecstatic with the opportunity to get themselves onto the big stage at the NEC and play at Insomnia in the final. Obviously, they will yet to be find out exactly who they're going to be playing against, the options being the Armada or the Nighthawks, so a good team either way. But what a great match we've just seen there. Bristol coming through with a solid performance. They didn't make it easy, that much to be said. 7-5 and then 8-7 overall. So a very, very close fixture.
Yeah, a close fixture, one that certainly could have gone either way. And I think the Harriers maybe did deserve to see a third map. I think they played very well on Consulate. There were some rounds that they did a great job on. There were some rounds they made mistakes. There was some round that Bristol made some pretty shocking mistakes. And they've got plenty to go over and watch now, and they've got plenty to try and try and build on that before the finals at Insomnia. For the Harriers, commiserations. You did a fantastic job tonight, and on a different night, I see this going to 3 maps every single time. But, however, it isn't to be, and it will be the Smugglers that will take the first of our final spots. There's obviously only 2, as it is a grand finals over at Insomnia, and as you say, Tim, it is going to be either the Armada or the Nighthawks.
It certainly is. I'm not sure if that game has got finished yet. We're just waiting for an update. It's currently, I believe, in the 3rd map, so we will we'll take a short break, 5 minutes. We will sort out whereabouts we're up to on that map and what we're going to be doing, and we will come back and let you know.
Some type of way. I wish I heard you say that maybe what I'm feeling isn't real and the ceiling is falling as my voice is calling for that feeling again. Watch me try to understand, but I can't possibly know. You make me feel alive. You make my lungs feel right.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Ace of Para and XR Troika joining you again. We don't have a title sequence for you because we are rushing. We're rushing straight into the third map of the Plymouth Armada against the Norfolk Nighthawks. We join them 2 apiece, I believe the current score is, and we are playing on Coastline. This is going to be for that other spot in the grand final at Insomnia. We have joined it. There we go. Thank you, production. We are in. So we are 2 apiece as it stands. We come into round number 5 here. As I've said already, this is the third map. 1 apiece so far. This one is, I think, set to go the distance. I think they're really going at each other. Let's see how it plays out. 2 minutes 30 to go, X, and it looks like, if my eyes don't deceive me, we're attacking kitchen and service.
Yeah, so it is going to be on Plymouth Armada to mount this attack. As we've said, first 2 maps went either way, so a little bit of a difference as to their games last week, as both these teams did well in getting 2-0 victories last week, so they are actually going to be showing us what they've got in a proper best of 3 where we go the whole distance tonight. And you know, it's sometimes when you get to map 3, teams start playing a little bit differently, because then it really is all to play for and you've got to really play for every single round. You can see by the scoreboard we're seeing 2 apiece currently, so I've no doubt that this is very back and forth up to this point. It's obviously been a back and forth series, and what better map to throw it down on than Coastline.
1 minute 30 to go. We are still 5 versus 5. Very tentative here without the attackers making too much direct progress into sight, but that is to be expected. As we said, the winner here takes that place on the main stage, gets themselves to Insomnia, and will face off against the Bristol Smugglers for that inaugural R6 Siege Arena Clash Championship title. So 1 minute to go, and the attackers, Plymouth Armada here, are going to have to start thinking about getting themselves onto site. We've got Zafia making some good progress down Cool Vibes stairs here, just needs to get a little bit more aggressive and get onto that single door. At the minute, Norfolk Nighthawks are more than happy to sit with 4 inside the site and just hold those angles. That will be the first kill though. Will that be the catalyst for Plymouth that starts to get things moving? We've got 2 approaching that single door very cautiously here. They are going to get peeked potentially by Maestro. Maestro will get a good kill onto the window there, Ice Keens. That is a fantastic one for his team. That is going to spur Norfolk onto a second kill. Titan with the kill from the Bandit there, so that now leaves us 4 versus 3. Bandit allowed to rotate round. This could be dangerous if he gets himself through office and into the blue bar. Maestro will challenge that single door as well. Shots raining in. No kills to be found yet, but plenty of damage to be done. The Capitao bolts coming in will move Ice Keens, and we'll see him killed as well. Capitao now deep inside. Will miss the initial shots onto Alibi, but finish things off with a knife. Down goes the diffuser as we speak. Another kill for Slithermore on the Capitao, and that now leaves us. He just backs into the shots of Johnny Matrix, so that will bring us to 2 versus 1. Johnny Matrix has it all to do here on the Ella. If he can keep these engagements short range, that is ideal for Ella, but he's going to have to start moving. Will he make the first challenge onto Buck? No! Buck will finish things off. Nige closing things out, and that will take the first round that we have watched, at least, to the Plymouth Armada. Pretty good attack and defence there, X. A lot going on.
Very, very well executed attack there coming out from Plymouth. I think Norfolk did it to themselves a little bit. They could have wasted a bit more time on Cool Vibes stairs had they not reinforced Sunrise. That barricade isn't of a great deal of value. It's only a barricade. It's not like you've castled it off, but what it did tell the attackers of Plymouth is that there's nobody playing over in Sunrise. And even if they are, they're not going to be a direct threat because there is no line of sight. So all of a sudden, at the bottom of Cool Vibe stairs, instead of having 3 or 4 potential angles of that you're worrying about, you've eliminated Sunrise. So all of a sudden you're only worried about the corridor and courtyard, they kind of count as one. Blue bar and kitchen. So if you can totally avoid the sunrise side of things, then you can get some control of office. We did see the bandit get a nice kill over inside of office area, and if bandit had have actually rotated through blue bar, it could have been a totally different round. That would have maybe been, in hindsight, the smarter rotation to make. But having said that, it didn't pan out that way, and it's very difficult to know why he made the rotation that he did in the moment. Have we got the operator bans? Can we quickly...
Yeah, I think production will get those for us. I think
because Maestro's available, which I like, and we're seeing him played every single round, which is really good.
I'd have to imagine that Mirror's banned out, being that we're now in a penthouse theatre objective with no mirror. That would be a usual shout for this. I think you're dead right there. The bandit rotation through office would have been the play. Office into blue bar and just come right onto the flank of those two players at the bottom of Cool Vibe stairs. I think that would have been absolute free real estate all day long to get those two kills. So yeah, it's all about heat at the moment. Let's not forget, you know, I'm looking at the chat here. We've got fans of both sides in the chat. They've been vocal all night. They've been keeping an eye on the score. There's a lot of interest in this one. I think both of the players really want it. I can feel the hype coming into watching this fixture. I know that there's been people keeping a real keen eye on it, so the players will feel that as well. The players will be aware of that as well. If people have been checking up on the score, you know, whether that be via text or whatever it is, to just keep on top of things, and it just adds those levels of pressure, and they definitely want it. You can see from the way both teams are playing here. So 1 minute to go, another tentative start, nobody in the map yet. It looks like we're going to have Zafir dropping the bathroom hatch very shortly.
I think Zafir would be ill-advised to drop the hatch. She has already droned it out and seen that there is somebody playing over inside of theatre. So a very, very tentative start here coming out from Plymouth, as they're just stacking up a little bit too much on this double window. Typically, if you're going to see one person play it, you would see a Blackbeard playing it, or somebody else that is going to be able to do something useful from the window. Twitch, okay, got a great weapon. I'm sure that Twitch is going to be able to make something work, but she doesn't really need the support of another two attackers. They really need to be looking to get control over onto VIP, but a nice headshot there is going to open things up over onto the Rook, and I think Twitch is just pinging there because Maestro is lying down just behind the little half wall there as well. So had there been some hard destruction, that VIP wall could have been opened, and it would be more difficult for Ice Keen to operate there safely. As it stands, without there even being a Maverick, he can pretty much play this angle all round, and I'm sure that if Twitch keeps on challenging wide peeking like that, he will come off successful indeed, as he has eaten up a good portion of Twitch's health there. Sophia lifeline charges come through, and another kill comes over for Norwich over onto Zafir this time. So Zafir and Ash both falling off in an effective 4 versus 3 now, as it starts to look pretty good for Norfolk based on the lineup that the Armada have chosen to bring. I can't believe that we've not at least seen a Hibana. We do often talk about Coastline being one of the maps that you don't necessarily need a hard breacher, but when you know that they're going to be going up to Penthouse and Theatre, at least bring the Maverick, as you could be able to open up some murder holes and just stop Ice Keens from being able to command the entire bomb site. And look at that headshot he's able to find over onto the Thatcher. A second onto Nige. Can he make it a 4K and find Jackal as the 4th? No! Number 8 is going to steal his 4K, but I'm sure he's not going to mind. A great round for Norwich, really showing that defending onto Penthouse can be as easy as that.
We can see already then that we've come into a real slugfest here. We came in at 2 apiece, and we've seen 1 round go in either direction, so that brings us to the half at 3-all. I can already say I'm not going to be surprised if this one goes the distance and into overtime. We're going to swap the attacking and defensive sides now, so we're going to see the Norfolk Nighthawks moving on to the attack. You can see your bands there at the top of the screen. We've got Montagna, Blackbeard, Legion and Echo all banned out, so the mirror is available to play, so slight surprise not to see the mirror brought on the Penthouse objective there, but that said, they just didn't need her. They let Ice Keens get in there with his Maestro and do the business with a nice 3k, making it very, very difficult. So moving into round number 7 then, this is going to be Norfolk's first attack. Reasonably standard lineup there. They're going to be attacking onto the kitchen and service site, so the thermite won't be of too much use. There is the option of opening up the long wall into corridor, I suppose, but there's not generally too much value gained from that. I'd expect to see pressure applied from the window, service and sunrise simultaneously if they want to get some great success here, or potentially get upstairs with that sledge, open up a couple of vertical angles. Those are your two options really moving on to kitchen and service.
Yeah, I mean the wall that Bandit's currently putting Bandits on there, that almost like the little connector in B service, that can be a good wall to open up as the Thermite, as you've got quite a few angles to play with inside of main lobby, and you can look to try and get a plant off in there. It can be relatively well protected, especially if you've got a crossfire established from the window or from service door, and you've got bathroom control, and if you've got upstairs control as well, which it looks as though we're going to see because we've got Sledge and Buck, but Sledge has got the shotgun. Not something that you see all the time. So Sledge with the shotgun and with no sight over on the SMG, that tells me that maybe doesn't play Sledge all too much, or just not quite got him set up, or perhaps just got him set up in
just the way he likes him.
Interesting way, just the way he likes him. Buck going to be making his way in downstairs. Yes, he is. He is going to make his way into pool entrance and look to aggress onto the site pretty much straight away, along with Jackal. So the two operators there, really, that you would expect to go upstairs and try and drone out some roamers, get some footprints. Not going to be seeing that. If they do some thorough drone work here, they will find out that Alibi is over on inside blue. But Alibi just getting a little bit too aggressive there. Is going to peek on out to the Jackal and give her location away. Now Buck should be able to shoot through this wall and quickly make a rotate in. He gets the line of sight, doesn't manage to land the shots. It will be a trade nonetheless, but that could have been a free kill for Norfolk. Instead, they will pay for it dearly in the life of their Buck. Jackal now thinking about rotating out, but is joined by Thatcher. Next victim will be Jaeger over on the Cool Vibe stairs. What are they going to be able to do with this one?
1 minute 20 left on the clock then, 4 versus 4. Still got the Sledge with an option of getting upstairs and starting to open that floor out, but as I suggested, it looks like they are forgoing vertical control this time and just looking to get themselves a number of angles into sight. The problem that they've got here is that they're not pushing service side, so it allows those defenders to just stack themselves up and watch the window and the single door side. They know that there's no pressure being applied. Now we're going to see the Thermite opening that wall from corridor, which I suggested was a possibility, but not necessarily too much value. I think you're right, X. The wall through into service does tend to hold a little bit more value, but the way my calls have been going tonight, I'm sure that we'll see a 3k through that hole any minute now. But as suggested, it will be used against them. It's generally more powerful from sight, out of sight, than it is to use into sight, is this hole. So they will lose the first man. The Thatcher will go down from there. So that's now 4 versus 3 in favour of the defenders. Plymouth Armada have got this sewn up pretty tight at the minute with 20 seconds to go. In comes one of the attackers from the window. That will be Sledge. Ice Keens will be taken out, so that leaves us 4 versus 2 now. The defenders just have to watch this breach in the single windows. In comes the first. Norfolk starting to challenge sight now from the same angle. Slithermore, Bumble Bishop get one apiece. Finish things off for the Plymouth Armada. That will be their first successful defensive round in the bag. 4-3 now.
Jaeger played that whole round upstairs. Just unchecked, unchallenged. You've got a Jackal, you've got a Sledge, you've got a Buck. If you open up the floor and open up that wall, Rook isn't allowed to sit in the default mirror spot or the default rotation spot because there's going to be a hole above that. You're going to be able to get a kill from there. You're going to force the defenders to rotate around, and by having the wall open and the floor above open, the defenders, it's only a matter of time until they rotate into one of your crosshairs and you establish a crossfire. So a good defense, I guess, from the Armada, but a lackluster attack coming out from the Nighthawks, and I think they could have done a lot more on that one. We are going to move bomb sites, of course. We are going to go over to Hooker and Billiards now, and will Armada be able to chain a couple of rounds together on this defense and pick up back-to-back round wins, or are we going to see much of the same, and are we going to see it going one apiece? No Maestro, bit disappointing, especially when we're bringing a Rook. If you want the ACOG, bring the Maestro. He can do a very similar job and has the 2 Evil Eyes to boot as well. Aside from that, not got too many problems with the rest of the lineup. Maybe a Jaeger instead of the Vigil, as we do have quite a few throwables on the side of the Nighthawks. We've got 4 grenades and obviously Zafia's lifeline as well. So I'd be looking to get onto the roof as the Nighthawks, get a grenade down Cool Vibes ventilation, get a grenade down Aquarium ventilation, and just see if you can pick yourself up a cheap kill or a couple of points of damage over onto any players playing behind bar in Aquarium or on Cool Vibe stairs.
I think it's essential this time for Norfolk to get a good grasp on where all of those defenders are and look to push any single roamers, you know, 2 or 3 of them at a time, and just go in there and get the kills quickly. You can get yourself in a, you know, if you find 2 roamers and you get in there and get them into crossfires, pinch them, you can get yourself 5 versus 3 very quickly. We've got one here with smoke. He's playing with the shotgun. Try and engage him at range. If he's playing behind the bar, coming through the single window that you can see top left, he's going to struggle in that encounter then, because the range is going to be too great for his shotgun versus any of the attacker weapons, and that's one off the board straight away. As it is, he's being allowed to challenge onto that service door now from kitchen, and it's really the Vigil and the smoke here. They just need to root them out. 1 minute to go, not too much direct progress into sight, and that's what happens when you try and challenge the single door with a smoke behind bar on the shotgun. The distance is too close, and if they're not careful they'll lose a second. However, Norwich do manage to get the kill this time and trade that one out, so that's good. They just need to get in now and get the kill onto Alibi and start reducing this man count, but they're not going to do it at this point as they now go 2-4, but they have got the diffuser down in all this sort of drama of the kills going on downstairs. However, 1 versus 4, it is all down to Ice Keens out on that balcony now. It was a matter of time. I think he was getting challenged from a number of angles there. You can see Bumble Bishop coming from the hooker deck stairs. He managed to get himself out of that door, and that's what was turning Ice Keen's head around. You could see him just spinning on the spot a little bit because he was being challenged from everywhere. The counter diffuse comes in, and that's 2 rounds on the bounce for Plymouth Armada now. I think that all fell apart from the beginning where they challenged the smoke on that close angle and allowed him to use that shotgun.
A difficult round for the Nighthawks indeed. Just not able to get a grasp of the smoke downstairs, like you say. I mean, I've not got a massive problem with challenging onto that smoke. Just hit your shot.
Like I said, I think if you just come through the single window, it just lengthens the angle. You know he's on a shotgun.
It doesn't matter. They're just not communicating. Somebody came in through service, right? So if they pushed all the way up through kitchen, yes, Smoke did put a smoke canister there. That's going to last for 15 to 20 seconds max. If you really had to, you could rotate around through service and showers area and rotate down main corridor downstairs outside of kitchen. The pinch onto the smoke just should have happened. Like 100% should have happened. Like, go to the window, do something. Like, it just seems like the Nighthawks just sort of
just ran onto him,
just led down and took that one. They got the plant down, but it was pointless. It was as we were saying in the pre-game of the match earlier, that there's no point getting the plant down if you're not in a position to be able to defend it. They got the plant down, and then all of a sudden the kills just started to flood. I don't know, just maybe less focus on getting the plant down and more focus on trying to keep a handle on the roamers. But typically, I don't think you'd bother going in downstairs anyway. You'd look to go in through penthouse and theatre side and VIP side, open up a wall from VIP that looks on into billiards, take control of luggage or south hallway, get control of aquarium and work your way through the site that way. If they'd have tossed a grenade through the ventilation hatch on Cool Vibe stairs, they'd have been gifted with a kill onto the castle. Like, there was multiple ways for the Nighthawks to attack that, and I feel like they just really rushed onto it.
Yeah, short of having a C4 downstairs, it's actually quite difficult on that site for the roamers playing downstairs to have too much of an impact on what's going on topside. It's quite easy to hold the staircases down. There's no rotation back through the courtyard available, so you know they're coming from one of 2 locations. If you've got a couple of claymores, you can shut that down pretty tightly. Like you say, just get yourself into aquarium, get yourself into VIP, start opening up your lines of sight from there, and then it's quite easy to get the defenders moving round in sight. And it was just, like you say, they just spent a bit too much time downstairs, I think, you know, challenging things that just didn't really need to. But coming into round number 9 then, we are 5-3 in favour of Plymouth Armada. We're going to see some early aggression from Johnny Matrix here, and he's going to be going in and trying to get a plant down, and this could be a risky one. He's got a man behind bar, and risky it is indeed as Mirror jumps over. Bumble the Bishop just getting the kill there onto Johnny Matrix, and that will be diffuser down as well, so that will be collected, but now much more difficult. Zafir just getting the down there. Titan, I think Ice Keen's getting a kill for himself as well, so that's a quick switch around in man count, and we're going to have another attempt to get this diffuser down. Maestro's going to lose his life to Jamie V-Dub, and that leaves us 4 versus 2 with the diffuser down. These players need to get away from the site. We're not seeing enough urgency to get into a retake situation for the attackers once the diffusers go down. There was a good 10 seconds there where they were basically all stood on top of that diffuser. I don't like the position of this Sophia playing directly on top of the diffuser either. There's going to be a cheap kill to be had here for Slithermore if he looks round, but he won't. Challengers go through into the pool entrance, and he will find a kill there, but Ice Keens will finish things off with the downed Plymouth player being finished off at the same time as well, so that will go in the favour of Norfolk Nighthawks that time.
Norfolk doing a good job there of trying to get in and get the diffuser down, albeit a little bit too keen. I think they could have set up a bit more of a crossfire before they'd done so. If they maybe had somebody playing on the small window into Sunrise, they would have had a good crossfire onto the mirror and maybe got that plant down. I think Plymouth Armada just not respecting the objective room enough and really just allowing a free line of sight all the way on in. Typically you would see that wall all reinforced and all bandited up, maybe a castle on it as well. That being said, that objective isn't one that you see all too often unless Mirror's in play, because it can be very difficult to hold. Mirror obviously is in play, but I don't think that the Mirrors were really positioned in the best location. But yeah, a difficult site I think for Armada to pick to go down to. I think they'll see much better success, I believe, over on in Kitchen, as they did do quite a good job of winning this round earlier on in this series. Round count at 5-4 in favour of Plymouth Armada, so it's still anybody's to play for. And we do seem to be falling back onto the Doc Rook meta just a little bit.
We certainly do, like you say, the ACOG's being popular, but as we've said, Echo banned out this one, but Maestro available, so, you know, certainly instead of one of them, bring that Maestro. We've already seen the value of Maestro so far. The Plymouth Armada finding out the hard way what happens when you challenge a Maestro head on and he goes and gets a 3k. So regardless, we're going to move into the action phase now, and in come the drones, just looking through sight to see what we've got and where. We've got the sledge available, so we will see if they take any top floor control. I think that's something they could have done probably a bit more aggressively last time. Ice Keen's getting the first kill onto Bumble Bishop there though, so a good start for Norfolk. They'll be looking to tie this up 5 apiece. Looks like they're trying to force the way into sight for a quick plant again. They will lose a man to it, but Titan will get himself a double kill. Is this going to be the diffuser going down? Unsurprisingly, yes, it is. Very strange timing from the Thinker there to try and jump through window whilst sort of using that adrenal surge. Just took her off her ADS and made it so that she couldn't challenge. Both of the Nighthawks players that stay inside being quite aggressive here. Ice Keens will get the kill, will be traded out. Jamie V-Dub will finish that off. Struggling with his name there, but he didn't struggle with the kill, and that will be another round to the Nighthawks. And this quick plant method, it seems to be doing the business. 2 rounds on the bounce.
It's just very difficult to try and deal with that level of aggression. And Plymouth are struggling at this moment in time. They're really struggling to deal with the Nighthawks just saying, you know what, we're just going to throw everything at it. We're just going to keep throwing bodies at it until we've traded out and we've got ourselves in a position to get the plant down. And, you know, okay, last 2 rounds it's worked for them. Not Titan, I'm going to call him Titan, got a nice 2k that really opened things up there, and that was up until then it was like 1-for-1 trades, and then all of a sudden he gets 2k and the gap's been opened, then all of a sudden bang, he's in the objective and the plant's getting down. That could have gone a little bit differently, and it's not always a great idea to just start throwing bodies at an objective in an attempt for, you know, for something to stick, and trying to get the plant down, and then, well, we'll get the plant down and we'll deal with that later. We'll, you know, we'll just try and stay alive for a little bit longer. Very, very difficult to deal with indeed, but, you know, Plymouth, they've just got to focus themselves, and they've just got to look to try and to try and really concentrate on that one area. If they are just going to try and throw multiple bodies through it, then figure it out, you know.
I think one thing that Plymouth are probably missing here is, I believe we've got the Legion band, and that is a perfect operator to slow down a rushing team like that. If you could get a couple of goo mines in at service entrance here, it does just help to slow down that rapid push to try and get the diffuser down. But you know, any trap operators potentially, you know, Ella, Frost, anybody like that potentially, Capcan, just to try and slow things down. You've got the smoke, even use, not ideal, but use those toxic babes early on in the round. Just try and force Norfolk Nighthawks later into the round, because that is where Plymouth Armada have been having success. Where rounds have gone into the final minutes, the Armada have pretty much come out with all of them, I think, because they've just played those late round situations better than the Nighthawks.
Ice King's looking for another kill through the drone hole, but he won't find one this time. Smoke toss comes out there from Jackal, and the push is almost imminent. You can just feel it. The Nighthawks are itching to get going now. Another smoke toss come out, so that's going to be all the smokes off the side of the Nighthawks, but they're not going to really be in a position to use them because, as you suggested, toxic bays are being tossed through Showers area. The wall has been open perfectly, and it is allowing Nige just to get that nice toss over onto the single door, which is going to slow down this push, and he's able to space them out as well. So he's only used one so far, which is pretty good going, considering we are nearly the halfway point of the round. There's some pressure coming through from kitchen window as well, though a grenade will be eaten up by an ADS there from the Fink, and the push comes through now. Johnny Matrix is getting the plant down. Nige is getting a lot of pressure there from the sledge as Ice Keens comes in and tries to get the kill over onto the Doc. The planter will be taken out, and Doc will be gifted with another down. Zafir going for the revive at this situation. What are you thinking? 3 versus 3 as Plymouth picks up a quick 2, but the pistol kills are now going to come through from the Finker. What is going on? We're in a 1 versus 1. Finker has lost a large portion of health there. The diffuser is on the floor, and Jaeger is able to guard it. Pre-fire shots there coming out from the Finker, able to recover the diffuser and look to get this plant down. This should be an easy kill coming through from Jaeger. If only he had a Maestro Evil Eye camera to give him the information that the plant was going down. But no, Finker is going to come off it and try to search out for the kill. Progressing on, but no! Bumble Bishop with the clean shots there onto Finker, as Finker just tries to use the bomb for a little bit of cover, but it will not be so. Great final kill there from the Jaeger, and Plymouth there just showing that they can deal with this aggression.
Crazy round there, and I think, as suggested, Plymouth just managed to slow things down a little bit and just prevent that first minute push from Norfolk Nighthawks. We didn't see any real action until about 1 minute 30 left on the clock, and it just ended up all a little bit crazy. It was like the decision had been made to get into sight and get the diffuser down, so that is what was going to happen regardless of anything else, and I just don't think they took account of the surroundings enough. They lost the planter without getting the diffuser down. We then, as you commented, had the Zafir trying to pick the sledge up. 2 easy kills for the Doc there, just stepped out and killed them. Granted, good move from the Finker, coming in from the window from the rear side, and just picked up a couple of kills to at least give a team a chance, 1 versus 1, but ultimately just lost out to that Jaeger.
Honestly, I thought Finker had the shotgun, because those kills were coming through, and it just sounded like it sounded like the shotgun. It was the pistol. I couldn't believe it when I saw that she had the pistol out, searching out for those kills. But as we've said, Armada now putting themselves onto match point, and this puts the Nighthawks in a difficult spot, because what do? It's all fun and games rushing until you're on match point. And
all fun and games until somebody loses an eye.
But it's all fun and games until you are on the round that means if you are going to Insomnia or not.
Yep.
Don't forget, these teams have already played a map each and won a map each. This is the 3rd map of a best of 3. We are nearing an overtime situation if the Nighthawks clutch out this round.
It doesn't go further than this.
It's all fun and games rushing until you're on match point. What do the Nighthawks do? Are they going to show us now that they've got the ability to execute a really nice take? Or are they going to try and do what we've seen them do on their previous attacking rounds and just funnel everybody through one single door? Because I think Armada are ready for anything. They've just come off a round win. They're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves at this moment in time. And they're going to be feeling like, you know, if they rush, I feel like we can take it. If they don't rush, I feel like we can take it.
I think whoever gets the first kill here is going to be very dangerous for the rest of this round. We've got Ice Keens out there on the aquarium balcony just putting his drone to work. He's got a castle barricade in front of him. That won't slow him too much as the sledge. He knows that he's got an operator in there. I think it might be the castle that's actually playing hard in that corner of aquarium. So he's just going to hold his angle at least until that castle barricade gets opened up. It's not the castle, as Slithermore will be over in VIP. It's actually the Rook that's playing in aquarium, and we've got another 2 on or around site with 1 roamer. So I'd suggest potentially Norfolk looking like they are keen to go for the plant option. They are at that hooker deck, they've got the diffuser there, Johnny Matrix is over there, and it looks like they're ready to go for it for me. I'm not sure it's the right call, as you've said, X. If you're going to rush in there, you've got to be prepared for the chaos that's going to ensue, and that is difficult to plan for. I think realistically, a nice couple of kills, you know, get themselves to 5-3, 5-2, 4-2 potentially before they start thinking about this diffuser. They've got a minute left, not much direct progress yet. The defenders doing a very good job of keeping themselves out of sight. This is going to be difficult if they have to rush in and try and get this plant down.
And every second that ticks on by just makes this more and more difficult for the Nighthawks, and it'll put them under the pressure and feel like they have to actually rush something. We're going to see Johnny Matrix use his exothermic charge over onto the castle barricade. A grenade toss comes out over towards aquarium double door, but it will not be successful. Adrenal surge comes through, but I think she does more damage to Sledge than she did to the player over in VIP. 2 quick kills there coming out for Plymouth Armada. As you can hear, the toxic bay canisters going off as well, and that'll be the diffuser on the floor, not planted, needing to be recovered. A quick 2k from Titan. The last time we saw him get a 2k, it was in fact Nighthawks winning the round. So could that be a sign? The plant will start to go down now. Slithermore making his way over on into the site. The plant has been completed, but no! A nice kill there from Alibi over onto the Zephyr, and shots coming out leaves us in a 2 versus 2. Is Alibi going to be able to grab these next couple of kills that are required? Norwich grabbed 1 there, back onto Slithermore, so it really does put it all down onto Alibi now. Alibi and Sledge left trying to clutch out this victory, and Alibi will find 1 onto the player over inside of Hooker, but not the second just yet. No, Jackal is going to grab that kill. The defuse does start to go down, but Sledge is going to have to get off it if he's going to want to get the kill. No, Jamie Dubb, the 2k to close out the round. So close for the Armada.
I'm on the edge of my seat here. That was a really back and forward round. I'm not really sure why Norfolk had 2 players on the double window. They just seemed to be hindering each other. Ultimately, I think Sledge got downed by Zephyr as he went in, but then Titan did get a good couple of kills from there. I'm not saying don't play anybody on there, but I think Titan on there was, you know, on his own was sufficient. Anxious Emu did a great job then of stepping across just at the right time to get the kill as Titan looked to repel in once the diffuser had gone down. Norfolk, it was shaky once the diffuser went down. It was shaky, but they did what they needed to do. Jackal ultimately just holding his angles out and managing to make that final challenge. Jamie V-Dub there with a nice double kill to finish things off for his team. So we're going to come into overtime now. We will see the Norfolk Nighthawks continue on attack, so they'll be able to carry that momentum potentially. This is going to be best of 3. First to win by a clear 2 will be going to Insomnia.
It could be the Nighthawks to lose based on the fact that they have started off on attack, because we've seen them do great things on their attacking phases so far. Yes, last time they attacked onto Kitchen, Plymouth did win. However, it was by a fine margin. It came down to a 1 versus 1, and on another day those kills get traded a different, you know, a little bit differently, and all of a sudden I don't know why Bumble's reinforcing that. No, Nige, you're right. Tell him not to reinforce that. You need to shoot through as much of that as possible, because the smokes were one of the only things that helped clutch out the round for Plymouth last time, as the Nighthawks did their typical, all going to push through one doorway, going to just try and throw as much stuff at it as they can. Ice Keen's looking for this peek again through the drone hole. I don't think he's going to be rewarded with it. It's not a mistake that you make twice in the same game. Some people make it every now and then, but often once is enough. And as soon as you've been killed through the drone hole once, you're pretty aware of it. Not Titan will open up the wall and get a ping over onto the smoke, just alerting his team that that is where smoke is playing. Anybody that wants to go upstairs could do so and would be able to root out the smoke from being able to play in that safe little corner, as the adrenal surge will come through now. But Sledge still more preoccupied with holding the drone hole. Nige will find his first one with the SMG. That's a great kill coming out there onto the Finker. And unfortunately for Norwich, a team kill onto Titan, no less. Titan has been putting Zafir to great work so far. Plymouth Armada at this stage just needs to sit back and watch Norwich self-destruct as we enter into a 5 versus 3.
So 5 versus 3, 1 minute 30 to go, and Norwich putting themselves on the back foot here with that quick plant attempt at service that we've seen them use so far. Plymouth Armada adapting very well to that. You know, you really can't keep doing that same thing over and over again, and Norwich certainly starting to realise that. I think we've got Ice Keens on Sledge just looking to push in through that service door. That's 2 minutes that has been spent trying to push that same door, and Nige is still on full health in bathroom with no major problems, and the diffuser will be collected though, but the challenge will start to come on from the dock. I think it was in sight, or potentially the ruck, and there will be the kill from Nige once again. Slithermore with one of his own onto Johnny Matrix. This is all in the hands of Plymouth Armada now. We've got, I would imagine, Jamie V-Dub left on the Jackal. 1 versus 5, he has it all to do. I think he's pushed himself upstairs for the time being so that he can start to move back round and challenge things on his own terms. He's going to come down the main lobby stairs here and look to challenge from the service side. He's seeing if he can get an angle onto anybody in bathroom. I don't think anybody was on the cam, so the static won't have seen him. He's going to rotate, a long rotate here into office. I don't know where he thinks he's going to find this time from. That's all it took, was one barricade to send him back on his way. He's going to have about 10 seconds to move into sight and get 5 kills. We can see Nige just getting those toxic babes out as well. He's poised with the shotgun. He's waiting. As soon as Jamie comes through, kablam! There it is. Nige gets the round.
Nige having an absolute storm there. I think the opening kill onto Finker. You can't always choose who you get your opening kill onto, but to grab it onto the Finker like that was very important indeed. Taking the frag grenades away, and of course that adrenal surge that we've seen the Nighthawks base every single one of their pushes off. They do tend to pop that before they all run on in sight. You can see the scoreboard there. Slithermore and Nige clutching it up for their team on over 10 kills apiece, both sitting on 11. However, there are 3 players over on the side of the Nighthawks that have also breached that kill barrier. So this is match point now once again for Plymouth. We have been here before. What are they going to be able to show us now? It is of course first to 8, so we could still see this going to another couple of rounds, but Plymouth, in the way that they've been attacking, we did see them do some good things on attack. I think we came out of the phase 3-3, or way back when we saw the Plymouth in their first attacking phase, because up until that point it's been, you know, since then, sorry, we've seen a lot of Plymouth on the defence. So switching things up now, going back onto the attack, how is this going to favour them? We did actually, we didn't see them attacking down onto Kitchen, I don't believe. I think that could have been the first round that we witnessed, and they did struggle onto it because they opened up the wall on the long wall there that Maestro's reinforcing now. So this time I'd like to see them getting a little bit more control from upstairs, learn from the Nighthawks' mistakes, don't all try and push in through service, try and have a couple of prongs to your attack, and I'm sure that it will fare you well.
Round number 14 then. The Nighthawks cannot afford to lose another round here. They either win 2 on the bounce or they go home with nothing, and it will be the Plymouth Armada progressing to the inaugural Siege Arena Clash final, which will be played out at Insomnia at NEC on the big stage. So all to play for, and what a great prize for one of these teams. So 5 versus 5, 30 seconds on the clock. The Maestro cam just going to pick up there, the kitchen window being opened. Vigil's going to be droned upstairs as well. So information pouring in now for the Plymouth Armada, just to let them know where the roamers are. There's only one really. We've got Jamie Vidub just out there in Sunrise as well on a semi-roam, and we've got Vigil playing upstairs. So important now for Plymouth Armada really to locate that Vigil and get him closed down. We commented earlier that sometimes the roamers on the bottom floor for a top floor objective aren't too powerful on coastline. That cannot be said, however, for the other way around. So leaving the Vigil up there will be very, very dangerous. There are too many options for him to drop hatches, drop courtyard, come downstairs, and to hurt you on the flank. So especially a player like Titan. 1 minute 30 to go, tentative so far.
Still all 10 players alive. Usually a second after I say that, one of them does die, but Vigil is going to be looking to train his sights over onto Cool Vibes, but Jamie Vidal is also keeping an eye on Cool Vibes as well. So unless anyone's on the middle of those staircases, they are both holding something that doesn't really matter at this moment in time, as Bumble Bishop has already made his way over on into main lobby. Vigil would be much better trying to rotate out of that now and try and go through Aquarium and look to come down main stairs. Drone work will come out from Bumblebee, and I think he might be thinking he's got away with that one, but no, Vigil has rotated down main stairs and will pay for it dearly with his life. Bumblebee now, I think he's still aware that somebody's going to be playing there, and if he pre-fires this corner, he could well see the kill. He does see the kill indeed. Bumble is having a tear. 4 versus 3 now. 3 versus 3, sorry, as Ice Keens and Norwich reply 2 of their own, but what happened there?
I have no idea.
We had 3 or 4 kills within 1 second. I mean, that's a good one, but that's only one of them. What happened to the other 3?
I think everybody, all of the attackers just seemed to step out at the wrong time, and they just all got caught in crossfires simultaneously, and that closed things out. So how about this? We are on map number 3, round number 15. This whole series now comes down to 1 round of siege for who is going to go to the Belong Arena Clash final to join the Bristol Smugglers. Will it be Plymouth Armada or will it be Norfolk Nighthawks? We're going to see Norfolk Nighthawks coming in on the attack. So far we've seen a very hit and miss aggressive style from Norfolk on the attack. They've tried to get that diffuser down in the first minute of the round. Sometimes it's worked fantastically, others it hasn't. For me, I think it's a bit of a high risk strategy in this situation. Overtime match point.
It's all fun and games rushing until it is match point. Overtime match point, no less. The Nighthawks, the thing is, this is what they got to do. Because last time we saw him not rush, and then kind of like try and force, you know, they kind of try and shoehorn a plant in where it wasn't really looking to fit. And they did win the round. They did get a little bit lucky in some of the kills that came through. That being said, they didn't do anything with the first like 2.5 minutes of the round. They kind of just got the plant down in the final 30 seconds when they were left with little other option. And that was all she wrote. They need to have a better push. They need to take and try and push in a way that's a little bit more reliable, that's going to gain them some map control, and that's going to give them something to work with.
So, 2 minutes 45 to go. This is the final round that we're going to see. The winner takes all the marbles here. It is all to play for. I would imagine this one's going to be a little bit more of a tentative attack than we've seen previously from Norfolk. We've got Titan taking the diffuser here. We're going to be attacking a hooker and billiards objective. We saw this done successfully by Norfolk last time, but it wasn't what you might call a landslide victory. It was certainly fraught with danger. They got the diffuser down inside of hooker, and then Jackal, Jamie Vidub, had to defend it with his life very close to the end and pick up a double kill to stop that counter diffuse. So we've seen a minute so far. We don't have the diffuser in hand. It's just been picked up by Johnny Matrix, and we've still got 5 Norfolk players all outside of the map. We're going to have 2 players on double window again, which was a little dangerous last time.
Alibi is down in Sunrise right now. Where is the information that is telling Alibi to peek out of that Sunrise single door? She could be gifted with an easy 2k onto those 2 repelling players. Thatcher's still in spawn at this point. I can only think he's been drawn in up until now. We've just seen Ice Keens. He's going to look to make a rotation. One of the players is going to be moving on up to the roof as well, but it still leaves Titan vulnerable out on the rappel. And Alibi, if you're going to be playing downstairs in Sunrise, you've got to be prepared to peek out from that window. I understand it's a medium range engagement for that weapon. The MX Storm isn't known for its long range capabilities, but you've got to give it a go. Zafir is commanding too much of the site right now, and there's no rotations that can be made. And with the pressure coming through from Aquarium, it's telling me that the Nighthawks are going to have a slightly better push this time. Ice Keen's opening things up with a kill over onto the Rook. So Aquarium control has now been gained, and Bumble's going to find it very difficult over on Insight. He's going to get challenged. He's going to find one onto Ice Keens. Ice Keens just finding himself a little bit in the middle of no man's land there. Slithermore with one of his own over onto number 8, which is Thatcher, but Jackal is inside of the site. No, Maverick is inside trying to get a plant off. Pre-fire shots come down from Alibi, and she will find Johnny Matrix. I think that the diffuser is just lying on the floor of Hooker now as Bumble Bishop grabs one onto Titan. It's a 4 versus 1. Jamie VW, he's done it once. Can he do it again? Can he clutch out the round for his team? He is going to push his way back over on into Sunrise and try and get a plant off inside of the smoke. Alibi still playing downstairs below him. There's no way he gets out of this alive. Surely he's got to get taken out, and he will. Nige with the Toxic Bay canister is going to come in clutch for his team. Slithermore is going to go for the defuse, but I think
it's all fun and games now.
It's all fun and games now. They're going to Insomnia. They're going to be very happy with themselves indeed. Plymouth Armada clutching out the round and taking this best of 3 series.
Yep, we come to the end of an epic series there. 3 maps, and Plymouth Armada ultimately take it in the very final round of overtime on Coastline, and that is going to send them flying into the final, where they will face the Bristol Smugglers at this year's Insomnia over the Easter weekend at the NEC in Birmingham. And what a prize for these guys. So, you know, let's not overstate this. These guys have gone down to their local Belong Arena. This in many cases is their first foray into competitive Siege. It's about putting a team together, having some fun, shoulder to shoulder, same room gaming. That's exactly what they've done. They've developed the strategies, they've developed the teamwork, they've watched the VODs back, and they've improved where they can over the weeks, and now they're going to be on the big stage. What a prize, and I'm sure that's really what these guys were looking for. We can take a quick look at the bracket there then, so you can see the route of both of these teams through the playoffs. So the Smugglers getting that first win against the Claymores, following it up by beating the Harriers tonight, which we watched, and that secured them their place in the final. And then we had the Armada, came through against the Pirates, came through against the Nighthawks tonight in the very final round, and that'll see them into the final, also meeting the Smugglers there at Insomnia. What a great match, X.
It's been a great evening, and I think that all the teams involved in the semi-final games this evening, they're all the guys on those rosters have been watching the VODs back, and they have been looking and seeing how they can improve. And we've seen that improvement week by week by week, as we've seen these guys playing again and again and again. And it's great to see things that maybe they were struggling with in earlier weeks is something that they've kind of got a little bit nailed this week, and now they've got something else that they can go and work on. And that's the great thing about it, is that all these players are enjoying themselves and they're enjoying getting better as a team. And they've really shown that there tonight. Good games to everybody that's participated this evening and throughout the whole tournament. It's been very fun to watch and cast indeed. And I think we're going to have a hell of a game on our hands when it comes to the finals.
Yeah,
the Smugglers versus the Armada. I almost like it just because of the names.
Yep.
Because you've got the Smugglers and the Armada will want to be catching the Smugglers. I love it. It's almost like you couldn't write it.
I don't think you could. You know, that's it. These boys now are going to be playing in a LAN environment on stage, so it's going to be wildly different to what they're used to. That being said, the Belong environment will have contributed potentially to getting that feeling of being sat with all your players, people watching potentially that have come down to the Belong Arena as well, just checking out what's going on. But it is certainly going to be on a different scale, and I'm really pleased for those guys, because it's definitely going to be a very enjoyable experience. If it's something that you'd like to potentially experience, then get yourself down to your local Belong Arena. Obviously this season is drawing to a close, but I'm sure each arena is going to be looking at getting those siege teams built up. So if you're a player, you know, it's easy to sit in the chat and comment on what they should and shouldn't have done. It's easy for us sat here as well, but you know, money where your mouth is. Get yourself down there and give it a go. See if you can get yourself a place in these teams. Now the final isn't going to be played next week. We will be back here next week, so make sure you come and watch. I believe we're going to have, I think it's the Challenger Series, the Challenger Team Final. So within each arena there is two teams. There's the teams that we've seen playing tonight and throughout the arena clash, and then there's sort of like, I won't call it a B team, but there is like a second team, and they are the Challenger team, so they will be playing in their final next week, and then we will bring you the main event. I think it's certainly weekend of the 19th. It's the Easter weekend. Yes. We'll be bringing you the final from Insomnia.
Yeah, definitely. You basically did call it the B team there as well. It's the champions and the challengers.
Champions and challengers.
Champions and
yes,
challengers.
They're challenging the champions for their positions in the team.
I mean, if that tells you one thing, it tells you that there's at least 10 spots in every single Belong to go towards Siege, because there's going to be 5 for the challengers and 5 for the champions. So there's even more reason to get yourself down there and to really compete for those spots, because I'm sure the next time that we see this, the level of, you know, the competition and the level of ability and the players and stuff is going to be even higher, and it's just going to go higher and higher and higher, because we've seen that just through the tournament itself. So you know what happens when everyone, because I mean I've seen some people in chat and apparently they're great.
Honestly, there's loads of them. There's some absolute gunners in chat.
Get yourselves down. Now, joking aside, chat, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's great that you all come in and watch, and I think we've seen a lot of love tonight for both the teams.
That's been really great.
The Smugglers had a hell of a lot.
The Smugglers had a lot of fans, but the back end of that match, the Armada and the Nighthawks, there was people backwards and forwards in chat, and it's you know, you guys make it as well. It helps to hype us up, and we get pumped because we know how much is being invested into the game as well. So then we want to make it as entertaining as we can for you guys, and it's been a lot of fun tonight.
It really has. I think with that being said, I think we are all done and dusted for this evening. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed it. As Tim said, we will be back next week with the Challenger League stuff, and I'm not sure who we're going to see playing. And I'm not even sure if they get a spot at the finals as well. I don't know.
What I am sure
of. Am I making promises
that you're writing checks your body can't cash? What I am sure of is it's going to be a hell of a match. So come back and watch.
I think that's fair enough to say. Thank you very much, guys, and we will see you all next week.